Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Player1 SimGear GT3 Championship. We return for the third round of 10. It is 2025. It's Season 3 here. And, of course, big thanks to all our sponsors for the series. Player1 SimGear, go and check them out. Fully Australia-owned and operated. p1simgear.com.au for all your sim gear needs, whether you're cleaning windows in games or whether you are driving fast cars like we are today. Also, TrackSpot TV, proud broadcast partner of MotorMotion E-Series, bringing you all the racing action with commentary, broadcasting, professional immersion, and graphics and overlays. And multi-platform streaming will be going to you live, of course, on the MotorMotion E-Series YouTube and the TrackSpot TV YouTube. Check out MotorMotion E-Series on www.motormotioneseries.wordpress.com for all your articles, news. They're on Facebook, they're on Discord. Go and get involved. It's going to be a great round today. My name is George Cook, your lead commentator for today, and my co-commentator will be Andrew Scott. Let's look at the calendar because we have got a great race for us today on the back of Cirque de la Sarthe, the Le Mans round, where Slipstream was oh so key and penalties were in operation all throughout the race in both Group A and Group B. We go now to a much different track. It is going to be Brands Hatch as we continue our European leg. 50 minutes today, going to be excellent. We'll take a look at the round information because it's afternoon, it's going to be cloudy, it's going to be muggy. All racing tyres are permitted, but you have to use the racing mediums. We'll get Andrew to tell us all about the strategy options in a few moments' time. Tuning prohibited. Of course, drivers allowed to adjust their brake bias. Weather today is looking gloomy and cold and nasty. It's 15 degrees Celsius out there, 13 in the shade, 80% humidity. It is not great weather, cloudy, 04. That is the preset in-game for GT7. It's going to be an interesting one, so we shall see. We are going to get you our qualifying results in a few moments' time, but first I'm going to welcome in our co-commentator today, Andrew Scott. Welcome in. Tell us a little bit about this. Obviously, you were in the race that has happened, and it's an interesting track, this, and such a big difference from Le Mans.
Yes, g'day George, g'day viewers, pleasure to be here once again. And yeah, very, very different track, this very famous track around the world, known around the world. And I personally really enjoy driving it, but yeah, it does take a different skill set to be fast around here. You've got to be pinpoint precise. The grass is beckoning on the exit of nearly every turn. So it takes real concentration to race well around here and be consistently fast and error-free. So yeah, also very peculiar, this track has a very, very short pit stop. So that brings into play running the soft tyres, George.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, I thought that might have been the case. We've seen it in the past, not only in GT3 championships, but in TCR and Carrera Cup. This track introduces a lot of interesting strategies, and some people will obviously be aiming for that one stop. Whether they do medium is going to be the question. I don't know if that's going to be viable really in terms of overall time. We shall see. We'll get more information when we head out on track. For now, qualifying results. Here we go. In place of Lewis Atkinson, we have to make a special mention of this. Lewis Atkinson injured in a BMX race. I've seen the video. It's a really nasty injury, but he is okay. He is recovering in hospital. He'll be out of sim racing for some time while he recovers. So all our best wishes to Lewis Atkinson. Replacing him, though, Hooncorp have managed to dial up a GT World Series driver. Yes, it's actually Guy Barbara, seven-time GT World Series finalist. He's been in there for 3 TGR World Finals as well. This man is one of the best sim racers in the world, and probably one of the top ones in Australia and New Zealand, certainly, alongside a number of Kiwi GT World Series drivers. But he is a name that we all recognize. He has, unsurprisingly, gotten pole position with a 122.6. Andrew, you were in there in second with a 123.0, so nearly 5/10 off the pace. You know, what are you doing? You need to be faster. Behind him, Matt Donetti jumping in for CP Motorsports in the 458 Italia Ferrari. Airborne in 4th position, completing the 2nd row of your grid. And then it is Gopi Mahindajit, 5th position for the GTR driver. That is a surprise. Nearly a second off the pace, followed by Matt McCullum. And then Nick Pautasso in 7th position, Water Arrow in 8th. Further down the grid, it is Nick Pfaff in the RCZ for Aster Racing. Then rounding out the top 10, it is Big Bruce the Shark. I think he is leading pro category in this qualifying. Matthew Joinson in 11th, followed by Scott Taylor. Spark in 13th, Chris Farapapa in 14th in the NSX that is yet to really stretch its legs properly. Behind him, it's Dub Zito, and rounding out the grid, it is Luke Stone. Very interesting to see that all happen there. Ando, tell us a little bit about that qualifying.
Yeah, it was a bit of full send moments there. Guy, who's such a lovely guy to be in chat with. I must admit, was a little bit starstruck when when he joined the race, and but just such a down to earth guy and very knowledgeable in the game, obviously, but super quick. Known as an aggressive driving style, but also very good on his tires. So it'll be interesting to see what strategy he chooses. But yeah, the quali was exciting. I was very happy to get the P2. I must say. I went full send after banking a lap. I went for it at the end and banked. Yeah, I beat a couple of guys that I don't normally start ahead of.
Yeah, of course, starting ahead of Gofi Mahindra, that's a big one, especially for the overall championship, which looks like this. In the pro category, Glenn Mead for Mad Turtle Racing, leading Matt McCullum by 20 points. Glenn Mead will be starting in a very good position today. Scott Taylor behind them, and up by another 7 points. Then it's Luke Stone, your top four for pro. And then in the elite category, Gopi Mahindra still leading, 94 points, but qualified fifth today with Nick Pautasso a couple of positions behind him. Nick Pfaff right up there, and of course Ando, yourself in second position. Right, we're chomping at the bit to go racing at Brands Hatch today. It's going to be a fantastic race. Hawthorne, Sheen Curve, Sterling's, Clark Curve into Druids. It's going to be exciting. We're about to go out on track. We'll see you over there on the grid. All right, here we go. Guy Barbaro will lead us away across the line. Round 3 begins now, and there we go. Pedal to the metal. The engines spool up to full maximum potential. We're looking at Ando's car at the moment. Gotten through turn 2, quite okay. Guy Barbaro going to be looking to build that lead early on. Medium tires have been the choice of tire for Ando. Soft tires for Guy Barbaro. So he wants to build that lead early. He's a smart racer. He knows that he can use the soft tire to maximum effect here. So likely going to see him do soft medium today and medium soft for Ando. A little bit of gravel runoff there for the CP Motorsports car of Matt McCullum. He is in fact the one leading at the moment in pro class on the grid, and he's going to have to keep ahead of Luke Stone today, who's made up a couple of early positions. Nick Pautasso trying to get up into this top 5 as soon as possible. Airborne holding on nicely. Now we head through Pilgrim's Drop into Hawthorne for the first time. Tricky right-hander. Everyone navigates it nicely. Nick Pautasso runs a little bit wide there. Is that going to open up an opportunity behind them as we see Luke Stone and Nick Pfaff exchanging positions in the background? Pfaff has actually made a great move there through Hawthorne, and up we go to Sheen Curve for the first time on lap 1. Fantastic move by Nick Pfaff, puts his RCZ in a fantastic position. MR car here are going to be very strong, and certainly the Aster Racing RCZ has been not necessarily at its full potential through the first couple of rounds of racing. Now we should see it come alive at a circuit that is so short, that is so curvy, and corners absolutely everywhere. Guy Barbaro across the line in the lead by some distance already, as positions shuffle around all the way throughout the grid. It's Ando, Danetti, Airborne, Mahindra, McCallum, Pautasso, Pfaff, all in the top 8 at the moment. And that is a good opening lap. A range of strategies here being executed, Ando. No surprise to see Guy Barbaro go into the softs early.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how many laps he gets out of them, though. But yeah, with the very short pit stop, it's of the order of 10 seconds. Running softs this race is definitely on the card. So there will be a mixture of 1-stoppers and 2-stoppers today. So the medium tyre being mandatory as well is going to make things interesting.
Certainly will. We're seeing a little bit of a scrap here between Joinson and Water Arrow on screen. The number 7 for Hasel1 Motorsport, trying to defend against Joinson, who is a bit of a master at Brands Hatch. Ahead of them, a few cars still going side by side as purple sectors do start to be sent into the timing tower. Matthew Joinson pushing extremely hard in that yellow RCZ, clearly on a mission today, but on the medium tire as well. So he's going to chase down Water Arrow and try and get that 9th position or 8th position or 10th position away from him. McCallum under attack now, and Luke Stone critically in the pro category has gotten up ahead of him. So Hooncorp currently leading the race with Guy Barbaro, and Luke Stone on a charge at the moment. He's 4th position in the pro title, needs to get a good result ahead of Matt McCullum here to make it further up in the standings. Still on screen, Glenn Mead, through corner 1 we go, and into Druids. This is the critical corner here. This is where the overtakes usually do happen. Very important to get on the brakes properly. As you head up the hill, then suddenly you find yourself with a lack of grip on the outside. And we're hoping that Andrew Scott's microphone has not broken too much, so I'll take it away until we have Andrew Scott return. A small technical issue, unfortunately, for us at the moment. Matthew Joynson nearly loses it. I wonder if there was a little bit of contact with Scott Taylor as they headed through Surtees. That was a scary moment. There's already a lack of grip as you head up the hill and onto Pilgrim's Rise. Drop, I should say. Pilgrim's Rise. On the medium tyre there for Matthew Joynson, that was nearly a scary moment sideways into the barrier, but he has managed to recover. But down in 13th position, he's got a lot of work to do in this race at the moment. Barbara from Ando, you can see on the mini-map actually the biggest distance. It's amazing what Guy Barbara can do. The guy is a 7-time GT World Series finalist. He is absolutely flying on course right now. His ultimate qualifying pace, 0.5 of a second faster than the rest of the field. And look, he's already setting fastest laps here, 123.6. Look at the body language of this car. This man knows how to use all of the track. But as Ando said, we do not know how many laps the racing soft tires are actually going to last, and that is going to be the critical thing today. How long will he be able to stay out there? Look at how much road he's using, every single little bit that he can get away with. Ando not escaping Matt Donetti at the moment, though, admittedly, so he's going to need to do a little bit of work here. CP Motorsports Donetti hasn't really played a huge part in the series so far. He had a 7th place finish, 7 of 7. In the elite category, I should say, for CP Motorsport. So not a good result to his name as yet, and this will be one where he wants to get himself back on the podium. Matt Donetti drives so many different racing games. You'll have seen him in all sorts of different leagues, and he is the kind of driver that once he gets his foot in the door, he will find his way on through. Ando, do we have you back? Your microphone was having a few issues.
Yes, sorry, George. Sorry, viewers. I'm back with you now. But yeah, very interesting to see how this is playing out now. Guy Barbara has got some clear track, which is critical if you're choosing to start on a soft tyre. So if we go through the field and see any soft runners there, they might be having their strategy compromised by slower cars in front of them. But Guy has cleared out. He got a good start, and he is going to execute probably a soft, medium strategy. And Ando, myself behind her, I'm on the mediums now, so I might be doing something alternate to that. And interestingly, in 3rd place, Donetti, he has got the option of switching to softs at some point too. So it'll be interesting to see on the first pit stops what he chooses to do. But you can see there, Guy Barbara's tyre wear is looking pretty good already on lap 5. They're not too worn, and he's just doing, pretty ridiculous pace there on the softs as well with full fuel.
Absolutely. Fantastic over there by Nick Pfaff, and Airborne gets shuffled out, loses 2 positions in 1 as Nick Pautasso in that green Mercedes finds his way on through. Great onboard camera shots from our broadcaster today. A name you're all familiar with on the tools in the background, John Wright for TrackSpot TV on the tools today and doing great work. That was a very, very good move from Nick Pautasso to find his way through. Basically, Airborne got shuffled out through Graham Hill Bend and found himself well on the outside. You just can't get the power out when you're far on the right-hand side. Sheen Curve we go through, and Glenn Mead right in this battle as well. Mad Turtle, Ando, have been extremely strong in the first 2 races. They want another. They're chomping at the bit.
Yeah, they've got a good roster, a good bit of a coup there to get Nick on board with them. So they've got a strong lineup, and Brucey there always bringing home good, consistent, strong results. So they are obviously looking to do really well in this championship, this series, and they're looking to be pretty well placed for now in this race.
Certainly, it might be the tortoise and the hare, or the mad turtle and the hare in this case, and they are looking for consistent results throughout the entire season, not necessarily looking for the race wins. We do see Glenn Mead now looking for an opportunity on Airborne. Glenn Mead is needing to get up ahead of Luke Stone as he heads on the inside into Graham Hill Bend. Fantastic stuff. He'll have the inside line and the braking zone into Surtees. He runs a little bit wide there, compromises himself, but he's got the power in that Mercedes. He's put the foot down. Soft tires as well versus Airborne's mediums. This is why Airborne is getting so chewed up in this field at the moment as all the soft runners come on through. And this is the tricky thing. If you're on that medium tire early on, yes, you're going to be in a situation where you're going to get overtaken relatively easily, but you can interfere with other people's strategies, exactly what you were alluding to earlier.
Yeah, I mean, track position is king around this this circuit. So if you start on mediums in front of a soft runner...
Oh, Nick Pautasso is gone!
Someone's off.
Nick Patasso has had a massive accident and he has rolled his car right into the back of the barrier. Rear splitter damage for Nick Patasso goes from 5th all the way down to 11th in this race.
Yeah, let's see if he's in he comes. He's not going to continue with that rear damage. That would have made things very hairy for him across the back half of the circuit there. So he's now going to maybe think about switching strategies. And with 6 laps done, he might be able to switch onto a soft tyre strategy. Let's see what he does.
It is
Looks
soft.
like he's taking softs.
Yep, it is soft tyres, and of course that is the standard place. You see a car on the outside grass just before Sterling's. You know what's happened there. It's quite obvious. Sheen curve. He's run wide.
Yeah, exactly. Might have just missed the apex, been a little bit eager on the loud pedal on exit, and just one part of your tyre touches that grass on the outside. That loaded up tyre will not, yeah, it will just not grip. It'll let go on you.
Absolutely right. As we saw Guy Barbara just going through the same section there, using the runoff as well. He's able to dip a tire and control it. That is the mastery level that we are seeing from Guy Barbara at the moment. On board now with Gopi Mahinajit. Started 5th, and now he's made his way up to 4th position, chasing down Matt Donetti and Ando. And you are under a lot of pressure in this race now because there is a fast Matt Donetti, a man that you regularly compete against in many different leagues, right behind you in a fast Ferrari.
Yeah, he's got that thing dialed in now at this stage of the race, and myself having little concentration lapses here and there, and looking in my mirrors maybe a little bit too much. But Matt is, as always, putting the pressure on, and he'll be looking to get past. But I'm just going to make my BMW as wide as possible here for the next few laps.
Certainly will, and that's going to be the important thing as we go on board now with Matt Donetti. Let's watch his full lap as we go through Surtees and now down Pilgrim's Drop. Famous names named after famous drivers at a legendary circuit of racing. Of course, was built to counteract some of the other racing circuits that were getting spun up many, many years ago. Opened in 1950 here, 2 layouts, FIA grade 2, and through we go into this middle sector. So tricky to get right. Dingle Dell, one of the best corner names in all of motorsport, in my opinion. Up the hill, you've got to run it wide and then through Sheen. Really just a bit of a lift-off. I think that's what drivers mistake sometimes, is that tapping that brake as you've got the car under such load is a really, really tricky thing to do unless you do the practice, unless you do the work, which you absolutely need to. Donetti probably going to be a little bit worried, though. He's attacking yourself, Ando, but Gopi Mahinajit is right there, the man who has been leading the elite category by some margin, completely untouchable for the most part in the first 2 rounds of this race, finds himself in 4th. It must be a bit of a mindset change for Gopi today, or maybe he's still just thinking loud pedal, loud pedal, loud pedal.
Yeah, I think he might have come into the race maybe a little bit compromised without a decent warm-up. And I hear that he might have been having some hardware issues as well with his rig. So he might be racing at some point with no force feedback at all. So he's really done well to be where he is. And he's just sitting there quietly, looking after his fuel, looking after his tyres. He might go the one stop here, medium, and try and get some track position towards the end of the race on the 2 stoppers, who are going to have to make passes around here in order to make their strategy work. And those 2 stoppers, yeah, it's not easy to pass around this track. Very, very few opportunities to make a move.
Exactly. I mean, we list them on a single hand. It's Druids. It is Clark Curve is the stretch, but, you know, and Pilgrim's Drop. You basically got 1 straight and 2 corners to do it at. Otherwise, you're not doing an overtake. And given the fact that we are doing 1 minute 24 laps, as opposed to Le Mans, where we were out there on track for 4 or 5 minutes, it is one of those circuits. It's fast, it's furious, and it produces great racing. Little touch of the gravel there on the outside for Donetti's. Lost a little bit of time to Gopi Mahinajit. As you were indicating, critical decision today to choose between the 1 stop and the 2 stop. The overtakes are so tricky, but the pit lane is so short that your 2 stopping is really, really effective here.
Absolutely, it is, and that then allows you to run soft tyres as well, which are, a significant advantage around here. And Gopi's run wide there. He might have dirty tyres for Surtees. Let's see. He is harassing Donetti, who now has got to start looking in his mirrors. So it'll be interesting to see if he can maintain that pressure on myself. And I think they're both just sitting here waiting for a mistake, George, from the car in front. That's the other way you make a pass around here. You just show a bit of patience and wait for that mistake, and you get an overspeed into the next corner on the car in front, and that allows you to make an authoritative move up the inside into the next corner.
Certainly does, yeah. And mistakes here easy to make, and basically all the other corners that we mentioned. All the corners we mentioned that were good for overtakes, every single other corner is really good to make a mistake on. If you're watching the car ahead making the mistake, that is. If you're making the mistake, not so much. Through Clark Cove we go. Great onboard shots on the Nissan GTR. It is Gridline Racing's GTR. Go from Mahinderjit at the helm. He held a personal best of a 1:24.4. You can see the pace difference right now to Guy Barbera, who's on the soft tires and leading this race. It's 1.3 seconds at the moment. That is how much more effective the soft tires are going to be at a circuit like this. Obviously, a little bit skewed on the data there because it is Guy Barbera, and we know how quick he is in basically any car on any track. But 1.3 seconds is a big difference, and given how little time you spend at the pit stop, it is one of those strategies that you have to really think about. And I don't know what the supercomputer was telling you, Ando. You probably don't want to be giving away secrets, given the competitiveness of the field here in the GT3 championships. But you know, was it indicating a one stop? Was it indicating a two stop? Do you want to give us a little insight, or are you going to stay tight-lipped?
Well, no, I can share with you they were very, very close, and it really depended on which tyre you were better on and how you could manage the drop off of the softs. So definitely a two-stop strategy around here is viable, and you can see Twitchy up in front there, Guy, is making it work. And look at that, he's on lap 11, George, and he's still circulating, hasn't pitted yet. That is tremendous tyre management there. With a fastest lap of 1:23.1, it looks like he is doing a little bit of tyre management. If he was going full send, I would expect him to be in the 22s by now. But yeah, he's making those soft tyres last, and he is going to be very, very hard to keep up with and beat in this race because he is really in position A1 now.
Exactly right. So we've just had a flick through a few cars there. We saw Nick Pfaff's tyres basically gone on the racing softs. We saw water arrows, picked up front splitter damage. Something has happened there. No surprise to see both Pfaff and Scotty jumping into the pits. A little bit more fuel saving for Pfaff as we go on board now with Nick Tasso. Is going to be challenging someone on the outs coming out of the pits. Not sure who that was. It was Spark, I believe. Or actually, no, it was Nick Pfaff. Who's come out on fresh racing softs and a little bit of a splash of fuel as well by the looks of it. Maybe not, actually. So probably looking for the two-stopper here today, Nick Pfaff. That is his usual modus operandi. We have learned how his strategies usually optimize, and they optimize very regularly towards the two-stop. He wants to be on the softer tire as much as possible, and we know that's where he's got his pace. He is a legend on the soft tire. So keep an eye on this RCZ today. He's in 10th at the moment, but he's got a lot of positions ahead of him that will fall away as a result of the pit stops. And Patasso is going to be one of those in short order. Water Arrow will be another one of those as well. We'll try and do a full grid run in a few moments' time to see the entire field as our leader comes into pit on 45 litres of fuel. Guy Barbera replacing Lewis Atkinson after a nasty fall at a BMX competition last weekend. Ruled himself out for racing at Hooncorp for some time. Guy Barbera makes a very efficient pit stop onto the racing soft tyres. So it's going to be a two-stop strategy from Guy Barbera, and really no surprise there at all.
No, not at all. But it is interesting to see the tyre drop off there. He was well into the late 124s there at the end. So that's what a one-stopper like myself wants to see, that soft tyre dropping off. But still, that is impressive pace. He's made a really nice gap there at the start of the race. So he's still in good position. He's come out on track with no traffic as well. So pitting back into traffic would have stalled his hopes as well. But he's been lucky enough to come out in relatively clear air, and it's hammer time once again, obviously.
Yeah, the three cars ahead of him are Hinderjit, Donetti, and Ando, all yet to pit in this race. So as soon as this lead pack pit, they're all on the medium tyres, so they will be pitting around the same time. Guy Barbera might find himself catching up to these three in relative short order. Luckily, it is the top three, and they've got great pace around here as well. So now, Andrew Scott leading. Oh, that is very, very wide at Sterling's for Matt Donetti. That'll cost him at least a few tenths of a second, and Gopi Mahindra might be thinking now it's time to attack. Although I have to say, Gopi has been very passive in this race. He is quite happy to sit this one out at the moment. Only 18 minutes into this race, ladies and gentlemen, a flurry of pit stops have happened. The soft runners needing to pit around somewhere between lap 11 and lap 13, not going much more than that, as we do see Glenn Mead now jump into the pits for Mad Turtle Racing. So who is leading Pro at the moment? It is Water Arrow. No, sorry, it is Matt McCullum. Matt McCullum is currently leading Pro category. Think he's still to pit. The battle really between him and Luke Stone today in Pro category.
Yeah, it is. And I'll just switch back to Barbara now, George, if I may, because I've just noticed he's got 3 medium runners in front of him. So if he's going to make his strategy work, he's going to have to clear the top 3 runners in this race.
Exactly.
3 elite drivers that are on medium tyres. They're in their rhythm. They're going to make their cars as wide as possible, but we might have some entertaining overtakes coming up, George. We'll keep our eye on Barbara for now, I'd say.
Yeah, we certainly will. Nick Pautasso on a bit of a charge back. He made the mistake at Sheen Curve and found himself on the wrong side of Sterling's with a bit of damage. He came into the pits immediately. Nick Pfaff putting on a real attack on him at the moment. No, Pautasso runs wide as they head through Dingle Dell. Now up. Is it going to be side by side through Sheen Curve? Don't do that. Oh dear, they both run wide, jostling for position. Here comes Luke Stone, gone past Nick Pfaff and into, oh dear, into Sterling's. That was a very brave move there from Luke Stone. Trusted that Nick Pfaff would do the right thing as a slow car coming back on the track and give him the space, and he did. Both Nick Pautasso and Nick Pfaff there. What a scrap through Sheen Curve.
Yeah, I think it was a total of 3 Code Brown moments I just saw, I think, George, in the space of 2 corners. And as we go maybe back up to the front, we've got Barbara's already cleared Mahinderjit, and he's right on the hammer of Matt Donetti now. And fresh soft tyres with the Supra here, the straight line speed is going to easily clear Donetti now. So that's 2 down, 1 to go for Barbara. Nothing's going to stop him here. He is on fire, and he's got myself in his sights now. I don't think it'll take him too long to clear me either.
Wow, rear vision mirror, and that you can see the distance just getting further and further away. That is a long distance back now to Matt Donetti, who's running wide. He's not got the grip on the medium tire now at this stage of the race. Guy Barbara, like hot knife through butter. Butter scraped over plenty of very nice bread, I'm sure. This is incredible to watch. I mean, we were sort of hypothesizing there that Guy Barbara might have a couple of challenges here, but with the tire difference, the tire offset, old medium tires versus fresh softs, it is just no contest. I mean, arguably, I don't want to say that none of our previous top 3, Donetti, Ando, yourself, and Mahinderjit couldn't necessarily race on equal terms with Guy Barbara, but let's be honest, he is a GT World Series driver, one of the fastest drivers in the world today, and even on equal terms, I think it would be a real challenge. Gopi Mahindra in the pits on the medium tyre. Let's see if he switches to mediums again, or if he's going for the soft tyre. And I think, Ando, correct me if I'm wrong, that looks like it's going to be soft tyre. Here we go. Change for the lead. Guy Barbara finds his way through the final bit of butter, and the hot knife now takes the top spot. Nothing you could do there, Ando. Nothing.
No, my mediums are starting to expire now, and so I wasn't going to fight Guy there. He was coming through, no doubt about it. I was just going to have to, keep my car on track and concentrate on my gap now back to Donetti, who my real race is with. I'm just trying to put in consistent times at the moment and get that thing into the pits as efficiently as possible to switch onto a fresh set of tyres. And I think Mahinderjit there's gone for the undercut on Donetti, so we'll see how that works out for him. He might go for mediums again, I'm not sure. But if he does, he's definitely going for an undercut on Donetti there. We'll see if that pans out for him as well.
Certainly. We'll get some updates on Gopi Mahindra in a few moments' time. For now, I think the one thing that's probably not helped Matt Donetti here, as he does dive into the pits on 35 litres of fuel, is the fact that Guy Barbara has come back through the top 3. He's actually created gaps in between them all the way through. Water Arrow will now be in 4th position, still holding that front splitter damage on the medium tyres, going long, still got 25 litres of fuel on board. He might be trying to make the one stop happen today because he's still out there. Pfaff on the softs and on his charge with Nick Pautasso just ahead of him. So this is a scrap, a three-way scrap right now. Two elite drivers, Faf and Pautasso, part of the 7 we have on track today. And then Luke Stone, of course, coming in the background. He is the one challenging for the pro category win at Brands Hatch round 3 here at the Player 1 SimGear GT3 Championship. He is not looking too bad here. I think he's on the same kind of strategy as Nick Faf.
Yeah, he could be, George. So that is to, correct me if I'm wrong, run on the soft tyres now for the majority of the race and try and just let his raw pace, get him up to the lead, as we see some side-by-side action there.
Oh!
And Water Arrow with that front aero damage is a bit of a cork in the bottle here. He's creating hassles for the cars, but around the back of the circuit here, George, that is just the most difficult place to make overtakes, isn't it?
Oh, it certainly is. Oh, Nick Faf wants to look up the inside. Luke Stone's going to follow him on through. We'll get a wider camera shot in a few moments' time, I'm sure. And yes, he was creating hassles. He's Hasel1 Motorsport driver. Of course he creates hassles. That's exactly what they're named after. No, they're named after Mac Hasseldean, of course. Their glorious race leader, or team leader, I should say. Water Arrow does decide to pit there. That was an incredible exchange. It looked like Pautasso got past Water Arrow relatively cleanly. Then Water Arrow ran wide, I think, into Dingledale. That allowed Nick Faf to come on through. It wasn't a super clean pass, and he got real squiggly at the end of it. Basically dived back into the car of Water Arrow and caused some havoc. It was a crazy place to go side by side, but the battle continues. All of them running wide through Graham Hill Bend. Nick Faf really wants to get ahead of Nick Pautasso as soon as possible. I think Nick is really holding up his strategy. And look at Luke Stone. He's going to try send up the inside at Surtees. And now he'll have a chance in that incredibly fast Toyota Supra down the straight, but side by side through any of the next few quarters is absolutely terrifying. I don't know if these guys really want to test the waters. Oh
yeah, we've got some cars on slightly different strategies here and slightly different state of their tyres. So I think Nick Pautasso's tyres might be expiring on him, as we see a great move there from Faf. He's not mucking around today, George. He is getting his elbows out and he's making moves.
Oh, that's fantastic. I mean, deja vu. We had a Mad Turtle and Aster Racing car go side by side through Sheen Curve not long ago. Both of them ended up running very deep and wide. This time, much cleaner overtake as Pautasso peels off into the pit lane and unleashes Luke Stone, who's going to make a charge after Nick Faf. He's got Glenn Mead right behind him, which is going to be a fantastic battle for the pro category. So Luke Stone, what tyres he's on the soft tyres. What tyre is Glenn Mead on at the moment? That's Brucey in 5th position. He's on the medium tyre, so might not be challenging at the moment for that top spot in pro. But what do we think of that, Endo? He started, I believe, on the soft tyre.
Yeah, so he's now on mediums. He might be going to the end now on the mediums. I'm not sure, but you can see myself there. I've come out, I've pitted into traffic. So I've had my strategy severely compromised here. And I'm being held up by someone who's on slightly older tyres than me. And now Donetti's out there. He looks to have switched to a 2-stop strategy. He's on the softs in 2nd place. And I have got some work to do here.
You certainly do, and there must have been a fueling difference between yourself and Donetti, because he is well up there at the top of the pack, and gave him a Hinderjet on the medium tire, trying the undercut. I don't know if that's worked out for him just yet. We'll find out later in the race when more pit stops do occur, because Donetti is slightly out of position right now, but arguably being in 2nd up here in clean air on the racing softs, he's completely negated the undercut attempt from a Hinderjet.
Yeah, absolutely. So the fact that they've switched on to different strategies now means that there's no undercut or overcut to be had. It's going to come down to all-out pace. And I tell you what, I'm very concerned now for my race, because Donetti has got clean air now on the 2-stop strategy, which is basically the same as what Guy Barbara's doing, just in slightly different order. Guy Barbara's going to have to run his mediums at the end of the race, but Donetti now has got his medium stint out of the way. He can just head down, bum up, get to work now, and he's going to have to pit back towards me towards the end. But he'll be on fresh softs and low fuel at the end, whereas I'm going to be on worn mediums. So I might be a bit of a sitting duck for Donetti at the end of this race.
Yeah, well, you either become a sitting duck or a cork in the bottle, and hopefully the latter for your chances of picking up a good podium position today, although looking strong for that currently. Nick Pfaff is the man in third place at the moment. He has had a decent race, but the scraps he's been involved in has really compromised this race today for him. So we'll see if he's able to pull that back. Currently running on these worn soft tires in the 25s. So the lap times not really presenting themselves for Nick Pfaff or Aster Racing in general at the moment today, but this is the battle we're really keen to keep an eye on. The pro category lead, Bruce the Shark, opting for the mediums in his second stint. The 999 car has a formal race winner in a number, both race 1 and race 2 for the pro category. So he has been a double race winner so far in the Player1 SimGear GT3 Championship in pro category. Looking for another today, but Luke Stone really wants to upset this. Luke Stone in 4th overall in the pro title, but you know, we know how strong a driver Luke Stone is. We know how competitive he is, and he wants to help Hooncorp get a really good result today, because Hooncorp are currently still leading the team's championship. So critical for him that he gets at least a podium today in pro category.
Yeah, so this is up for grabs still, this race in pro. Glenn Mead, known for his novel strategy choices at times. I think he's going to switch back onto a soft tyre to finish this race, if I'm correct. So there's still a lot to play for in this pro category race, that's for sure. But Luke Stone there with track position at the moment, and in that Supra, which looks to be performing pretty well around here. It's definitely touch and go here to see who's ahead.
Certainly right. So we're being told by our, oh wow, the run wide there from Glenn Mead, part of his alternative strategy, I'm sure. Not a man unfamiliar with the gravel, in fact. I actually met the man in person. We put a TrackSpot TV logo on the side of his stock ATV, I think it was, basically an off-road car, and I saw him do an endurance race. I was there, part of his pit crew. Great fun, great man. He's got a fantastic family as well around him. Brilliant guy to be around, but that was certainly a bit of an excursion onto the gravel there. Denetti, we're hearing from race control, Denetti took minimum fuel, whereas both yourself, Ando, and Gopi were on a refuel stint. So that is the key difference there. So Denetti will be coming into the pits relatively soon. The battle continues, and it's good friends having a scrap on track. It is Scott Taylor losing the position to Nick Pautasso. Pautasso has pitted reasonably recently, onto the soft tyre and finds himself back in 9th. After that incident, he was running 5th and then moved back to 11th position. So this is part of his strategy to get himself back up into that top 5 if he possibly can today. Spark for Black Rose Racing in the Porsche in P12. In fact, let's do a full run through the grid, because we haven't seen what's happening around the rest of the grid. 13th, well, let's start at the top. We'll go there right now. Of course, it is Guy Barbara leading the way at the moment. This man unchallenged so far in this race. As we see a yellow flag, someone is around at Graham Hill Bend. That looks to be one of the NSXs, or possibly Matt McCullum, who is run around into an awkward position. Second place, Matt Denetti in the yellow and black, my favorite colors. CP Motorsports car. Luke Stone is in 3rd place. He's leading pro category at the moment. Bruce the Shark right behind them. This is the battle that we're going to see evolve throughout the remainder of the last 18 minutes of the race or so. Ando behind them, not made any progress to get past these guys. He needs to, because it's critical for his strategy against Gopi Mahindajit, who's not too far behind on track, just coming through Druids at the moment. 6th position in the overalls, and I believe 4th currently in the, yes, 4th in the elite category. Matt McCullum right behind him, 3rd in pro at the moment. Then it's Nick Pautasso, who just got past Scott Taylor in 9th. Nick Pfaff has come in for a pit stop by the looks of it. Yes, he has, onto the medium tyre for the last 17 minutes or so of this track. In 10th position, then Water Arrow, who had that damage, acted as the bottle cork for some time. Spark for Black Rose Racing in P12. The Porsche is just non-existent at this circuit, which is a surprise given the MR nature of them. Chris Farepapa for Lightning Motorsport sitting in P13, followed by Airborne, who was right up there at the start to get. He's on the racing hard tyres. We'll come back to that in a moment. Dubzito in 15th, and then it is Matthew Jointson in 16th position. What is Airborne doing? He's on the hard tyre, Ando. I wasn't expecting that today.
No, I can't help but think maybe the pit crew got that wrong for him there and put the wrong tyre on his car. I can't think of a strategy where the hard tyre's viable. I know Airborne's a little bit hard on his tyres, pardon the pun. He punishes them a bit, but hard tyres around here, the lap times can't be good, can they? What's he doing? 27s and 26s. I can't see how that strategy he's going to work today.
No, I don't think that. I think that must be a mistake or something. Uh, must have come on the radio and said, "It's really hard conditions racing out there. It's hard. It's hard." And then the pit crew have said, "Oh, hard tires. Okay." So something's clearly gone wrong there. As we do see another yellow flag. Not quite sure who's caused that one this time out. Nick Pautasso on your screens right now on the racing soft tires. I think that was Matt McCullum that had made a mistake earlier on, but doesn't seem to be any worse for wear as a result of it. So may not have been him making that mistake and spinning round at Graham Hill Bend. Into the pits comes Guy Barbara. This is going to be the last pit stop of the day for him. Medium tyres to the end, Ando.
Yeah, he's basically job done here, George. He's just going to switch onto the mediums, and he'll have almost a pit stop in hand here as well. So if he wants to, he can do one lap on mediums here and then switch to softs for the rest of the race. But this is a crucial time in the race, George, because this is when everyone's going to be making their last stop. So track position and a net race position is going to play out here, and it'll be a race to the end from there. So in the next lap or two, we'll see where everything shakes out, and we'll see who has to overtake who to make their strategies work.
It's going to be fascinating the way that this race will end and the strategies pan out. Denetti, of course, following Guy Barbara's strategy at the moment. He's going to come into the pits at the end of this lap, and that's going to be the critical one. Where does he feed back out between Mahindra and Ando? Ahead of Ando? Behind Mahindra? Mahindra, of course, pitted early to try and do that undercut. And we'll see if that has panned out for him or if the clean air for Matt Denetti has created that massive gap that I'm sure he is hoping for at the moment. That was Water Arrow and Faf. I think it might have been Faf actually into the pits for the final time. Water Arrow on the medium tyres at the moment. Luke Stone, sorry, it was Luke Stone who's come out of the pits and he's onto the racing soft tyres. He's going to have a bit of work to do at the end of this race, Ando. He's looking for that pro win today versus Glenn Mead, who's probably... I don't know if he's running to the end on the medium tyres. He might well be, in which case he's probably already won it. Let's see. No, Brucey has pitted for softs. Well, this is a huge moment here. I think Glenn Mead is in a great position, but he's got Matt McCullum ahead of him, so it's still only second in pro category for Glenn Mead.
Yeah, we're going to have some drivers here on fresh softs and low fuel, just putting the hammer down here, and they're really going to go for it. They're going to have to make some passes here to make their strategies work. So Denetti, one of them, he's going to be pulling into the pits at some point very shortly, and it'll be very, very interesting indeed to see where the elite category positions wash out. But yeah, who's in the lead here now in pro? Is it Brucey, or he's got McCallum in front of him on very worn softs, and he doesn't have enough fuel to get to the end of the race either. So he's definitely coming in. I think Glenn Mead here might be in net first position pro category.
I think he is, yeah, just judging by this, and it won't be more than a couple of laps, or 3 laps maybe, before Matt McCullum has to make that pit stop for CP Motorsport. This will still be one of the best results for CP Motorsports. Denetti going to maybe be in the top 3 today. McCallum certainly looking on for a top 3 in pro category, and they are running, unfortunately, well down in the current standings. So not ideal for CP Motorsports, the start to this season. In fact, they were dead last at the end of round 2, and I think actually my points may not have been updated, so we'll try and get you an updated version of the standings as soon as possible. But CP Motorsports needs to be back on a charge, and this is the critical moment for Matt Denetti. Where's Ando on track? He must be coming around Clark Curve at the moment. Yes, he is. So he's just coming through the pits. How much fuel does Denetti need? He needs quite a fair bit. He's coming out of the pits right now. It's going to be close on exit. No, it's not. Ando goes on through, picks up second place. Mahindra and him might be battling. He's come out as the meat in the sandwich, says Denetti. And this is going to be a fantastic battle to the end, but it's going to be fresh tyres for Denetti. He needs to get them up to temperature. Gopa Mahindra does not want to let him get away, but I think that's going to be a matter of, well, it's going to be inevitable, unfortunately. I think racing mediums versus what tyre is Denetti on? I think must have chosen the softs, surely.
Oh, yeah, he's on fresh softs, and that was crucial. That was critical then, George. The fact that Denetti's come out ahead of Mahindra means that he's only got one car left to pass to claim that P2 on the podium. You can see there's a sizable gap there, but there's still also a fair bit to go in this race. So there's a good uh, 8 or 9 laps still to go in this race, I think. So he's going to have the time to catch me, but does he have the pace? But then, of course, once he catches me, are his soft tires going to be in good condition? And is he going to be able to make that move on me, who has got a pretty wide looking BMW there right now at the moment?
That's right. I think you know a few tricks to make it extra wide, especially the circuit that is so thin in some places. This is going to be a fascinating end to this race. Danetti, of course, looking to pick up his first podium of the season as well. He's been well out of the pace, unfortunately, in round one, round two. The Ferrari coming alive at Brands Hatch, and it's really great to see. This is the nature of the GT3 Championship. Each team, every team has a different car. So right now you're seeing 8 different manufacturers out on track as we keep an eye on Bruce the Shark, who, yeah, I think we have seen Matt McCullum pit. Matt McCullum has, of course, gone into the pits, and that means Glenn Mead is overall leading the pro category today. What a drive this has been. He didn't start in pole position for pro category, but the strategy execution from Glenn Mead, I mean, talk about consistent, and the Turtle winning the race here, just battling his way through, not getting into incidents, not making mistakes, consistent. He's not got the best pace in the world, but I have to admit, Glenn Mead is looking like a bit of a shark. Big Bruce the Shark in the Mercedes. It's a match made in heaven at the moment.
Yeah, very, very wily customer. And I think he's benefiting from having Nick Patasso on his team. So he's got all the good strategy calls, all the good intel there, and he's executed beautifully today. And let's see if he can bring it home, hey?
Yeah, we'll see. 10 minutes to go in this race. We're on the 28th lap. And Danetti got a lot of work to do to catch up to the back of Ando. Pfaff still sitting in 6th position, had to change onto the medium tyre, which of course was mandatory today. There's McCullum in 7th, second, of course, in pro category, and Water Arrow is a couple of positions behind. So McCullum will have to deal with Nick Pautasso trying to make something of this race that went oh so wrong at that exact corner we just saw many, many laps ago. He's done well to bring it back, but it is one of those things, Edo. Once you've made a small mistake at Brands Hatch, the PTSD starts to kick in rather strong.
Yeah, and isn't it funny how their strategies might be different, but the same old suspects come together again on track after their pit stop. So it's battle stations resumed here, and Nick Pautasso, who's got fresh softs, he's got a car with fresh softs ahead of him, and it's going to be a ding-dong battle, pardon the pun, to the end here for these guys.
You might say it's a Dingle-Dell battle. Well, hopefully they do it at a slightly better part of the track. We'll see what happens. Overtaking through that infield section is just so scary. You've got to be super brave. You've got to have a lot of trust in the other drivers. Of course, that's what we see here at the premiere event of the MotorMotion E-Series racing calendar, GT3 Championship. You have to have a team with an RCA level at the absolute maximum. That essentially is an indication of the team's commitment to MotorMotion E-Series, as well as their drivers and the cleanliness of their driving. So clean driving is the emphasis here at MotorMotion E-Series. Extremely clean racing we always see in all their series. So a big focus for them. We're on board now with Nick Pautasso in 8th position, chasing down Matt McCullum. The extra points here for Nick will be really important in the team's title. For him at the moment, he's in 2nd in the elite title. That may be taken away from him because he's only 2 points ahead of Nick Pfaff, who's currently 2 positions ahead of him on track. So this is a critical overtake that Nick Pautasso needs to make to maintain a decent gap to the guys who are inevitably going to go up ahead of him in the driver's standings in the elite category. So critical moments in this race. Matt Danetti has made an overtake on Andrew Scott. So 2nd position has already changed. Our broadcaster unfortunately didn't catch that one, but Matt Danetti has made the overtake. Ando, give us a replay of that one.
Yeah, unfortunately, that sitting duck prophecy came to be true. And on my worn mediums there, it was pretty obvious that Matt was going to get past. He got a really good exit out of, I think it was Surtees there, and just got the hammer down and drew his car alongside me. And I had no choice other than to yield. We raced side by side for a couple of corners. I think it was before Surtees he got the job done.
Wow. So excellent move there from the CP Motorsports driver. This will be his best result of the season so far. Danetti on an absolute charge. He does still have 7 minutes to go. So we're looking at about 5 laps remaining with Guy Barbara still in the lead. So Matt Danetti's just going to have to make this a no mistakes issue. He's got the pace on him by default, so just needs to avoid the mistakes. He doesn't need to be pushing on any of these laps. The 25 that he's done there seemingly more than enough at the moment. Now the real question, Hendo, are you going to hold on to a podium spot here?
Yeah, now I'm looking at my mirrors at yet another elite top split driver here. It's pretty incredible the talent at MotorMotion has attracted this season. But yeah, Gopi behind me is making inroads, and I'm just praying that I don't make a mistake now between now and the end of the race. And I give myself about 50-50 here, holding onto the podium. Even money.
Yeah, the pundits put in your bets. 50-50 are the odds. Going for a bit of money there. So see if you can predict it. Let us know in chat. Of course, welcome to those who are watching on the TrackSpot TV YouTube and the MotorMotion E-Series YouTube. Fantastic to have you guys in chat for round 3 of the Player1 SimGear GT3 Championship. It has been a fascinating race so far. The two strategies, the two-stopper and the one-stopper, being brought to the surface, really boiled to the surface in a way. And we're seeing the results of that right now. Danetti's two-stop strategy has worked out really, really well for him. The clean air, I think, Ando, was the critical point.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't take this into account when I was developing my strategy, I must admit. And the Mikuga supercomputers let me down there, I think. But no, hats off to Matt. He obviously has got blistering pace around here and executed well. And it's a done deal now because he's on fresh softs and he's clearing away. But interesting to note that Twitchy has swapped back onto the soft, so I think he's done an extra stop because I think he just wanted to get a 22, George. He wanted a 22, and there we see it, a 22.8 fastest lap. We haven't seen much of him this race because he's out on his own, but he is just making mincemeat of this field today, and that's his pedigree showing through. Just absolutely astounding what this guy can do.
Absolutely right. We've just been watching the battle of Matt McCullum and Nick Pautasso. Nick looking for a little move into Druids. But yeah, I have to completely agree. That is Guy Barbara 101. If he can make an extra pit stop, he's actually done 3 pit stops this race to everyone else's 2 or 1. And he's still ahead by some margin and setting fastest laps of this race, a 122.8. Absolutely incredible pace from Guy Barbara. We expect nothing less. I've raced him in the Japanese ambulances once in GT7, and he absolutely thrashed me even in those cars. So every single car you could possibly imagine, if it moves and slows down, I tell you, he can race it and he can race fast in it. Guy Barbara, what a switch in for Hooncorp Esports this time. Lewis Atkinson, of course, part of the racing pedigree at Hooncorp Esports, a big part there. Involved in an accident in his BMX racing, which he succeeds at very, very well. A young man with huge amounts of talent who's learnt a lot about strategy as a result of racing with Hooncorp and in the MotorMotion E-Series races that do require you to really think carefully. A bit of debris on the track there. Luckily, it's slightly further off the track for at least one car to get on through. But Guy Barbara, completely unmatched today, and we're not surprised. Look, if we were up there challenging, if someone's up there challenging, that would be absolutely fantastic to see. We'd probably call it as a result of Guy Barbara being a late call-in for Hooncorp Esports as opposed to anything else. But natural pace has dictated the weight of this race. And Nick Pautasso still looking for this move. Oh dear, that is a very, very sideways Aster Racing car. Don't know if that was Faf. I think that might have been his teammate. That was very, very scary there. Jointson on the racing soft, fresh. They're cold, though. Here goes Nick Pautasso on the Matt McCullum. It's going to be outside line, too wide through Hawthorne. Oh, dear. And Matt McCullum makes a smart decision and backs out of that one, lets Nick Pautasso through. They might be side by side again. There is that debris on track again. Luckily in GT7, it doesn't actually affect your car, luckily or not, although I have to admit that would maybe be quite an entertaining improvement to the game. We shall see. We have 2 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in this race. Guy Barbara will be making at least 2 more laps as we head towards the 35th lap on 33 at the moment, and Nick Pautasso will be unleashed from this battle. Guy Barbara's back on the medium tires. Okay, so I think actually he must have switched onto those soft tires initially, done the fastest lap, now jumped out onto the medium tire. What's his gap back to Donetti at the moment? Is that Donetti in the background? I don't think it is. No, no, it is not. He has still got a significant distance over the rest of the field here as Donetti flies through this corner. Hawthorns on the soft tyres that are going to last to the end of the race, but only just. The real question is who's picking up third place? And you're running low on fuel there. The medium tyres not looking like they're particularly comfortable, but Mahindajit's tyres are even worse.
Yes, they are. Luckily, he's been pushing obviously to try and catch me, and now he's rolled the dice, and now I think he's suffering. So it should be fairly simple for me to hold him off now to the end. But you never say never with Gopi. And can I just say, George, best wishes out to Lewis there from myself personally. Hope he gets better soon. I too saw the accident footage, and it wasn't pretty. But Lewis, he races at a pretty high level in BMX in real life, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. So he's well involved in the national level BMX competitions on the dirt tracks. He's very, very capable with anything to do with speed. And yeah, just a bit unlucky there, unfortunately, in that accident. But
Yeah.
we do indeed wish him the best because it is, yeah, especially for a young man, at least he'll bounce back quickly.
Yeah, hopefully the young bones will heal for him. But yeah, can I just say also what a swoop around the outside of Hawthorns that was from Nick Patasso. That could be the overtake of the race there. He battled with McCallum there for quite a few laps before he made his move. But the wily, uh, calculated driver that he is, he obviously lined him up from a few corners back. And he made the move stick around Hawthorns, which is not easy to do around the outside of that bend.
No, it is really scary, in fact, to try and do that. You're putting so much trust into the other driver. Into the last couple of corners comes Guy Barbara. This is going to be it for the race win. Or is it? Actually, I think he's going for another lap. Hold on.
I think he might get a victory lap here.
Yeah, I think he might get a victory lap. No one else will. 2,
Nope.
1. Yep, it is going to be a 36th lap for Guy Barbara. He'll be the only one to do it, just to showcase how much quicker than he is than everyone else in Australia and New Zealand. Matt Donetti comes across the line, picks up P2 in this race. And then, of course, Andrew, you hold on to a podium. Congratulations there. Mahindajit picks up 4th position, his worst result in the season so far. Glenn Mead, what a race. Here we go, through Stirlings for the final time. Clearways, past the McLaren Bend, which is where we do the motorcycle racing. Clark Curve for the final time, and pro category win goes to Glenn Mead, the man who's had the consistency today that we really needed to see, that Mad Turtle needed to see in this championship. And there we go. Nick Pfaff picks up 6th, Pautasso in 7th, a good recovery from him. Matt McCullum will pick up 2nd in the pro category. Water Arrow, probably a little bit of a race to forget today, but still a good effort overall. We'll go to the full results in a few moments' time, but that is a great bit of racing in Group A. In fact, let's head over to our results screen now. Well, here we are. We'll have our elite category results up in a few moments' time. And Guy Barbara, essentially, we didn't even need to watch that. We didn't need to watch the showcase lap that he was going to do at the end for us, because he was in the lead all the way through the race. Excellent strategy execution. Great for Hooncorp Esports in the overall title championship versus Mad Turtle. They came into this teams in the team standing 1 point separated, 200 for Hooncorp and 199 for Mad Turtle. So this is a big win for them today. Matt Donetti for CP Motorsports picks up P2, his best result and CP Motorsports' best result of the season. Ando, you pick up the last podium spot there for Hasel1 Motorsport. Gopi behind you only just. Gridline Racing in 4th. Then it is Nick Pfaff in 5th, Nick Pautasso in 6th in elite category, overall 7th. Because we did have a Glenn Mead, a big Bruce the Shark in between them. And then Campbell Knowles, of course, not seeing him today for Black Rose Racing. Let's go and have a little look at our pro category results for this race. And of course, it is Glenn Mead on top. 37 points. Really, really good race there for Glenn Mead. Critical, essentially equaling what was happening in the elite category. So Hooncorp and Mad Turtle, absolutely equal standings at the moment. This is going to be a fantastic way to go into round 4 and 5 before the half-season break. It's not really a break, but we'll call it a break. Matt McCullum picks up P2 for CP Motorsports. So CP Motorsports picking up a double second position finish in both the elite and pro categories. Riley Nicholson, Water Arrow, of course, in 3rd. Then it is Scott Taylor, Nick Roberts, Michael Brill, Chris Fadapapa, and Matthew Jointson, your overall results in pro. Ando, give us a little bit of a digest, and then we'll head to the break. I'm looking forward to Group B, but let's talk about Group A a little bit here.
Yeah, a good race there. I will say Riley Nicholson there, my teammate, he actually had a good result, George. Not a day to forget. Third place, I think, might be his best result in category this season. And yeah, interesting to see 2 second places for CP Motorsports and 2 third places for Hasel1 Motorsport. All in all, a good outing for both teams. And the guys up ahead, my driver of the day, I'm pretty sure you know who I'm going to pick. He's just had a stellar race, but is it time for our driver of the day, George?
Yeah, go for it.
I think, yeah, clearly Glenn Mead there with that execution and lovely clean race and also good pace. You're not going to win around here if you don't have good pace. So my driver of the day goes to Glenn Mead for that win in pro category.
Yeah, I completely agree. Glenn Mead, 100%. He started 10th in qualifying with both Matt McCullum Matt McCullum ahead of him and Water Arrow ahead of him. So he's passed 2 pro category cars from 10th and ended up first in category. So yeah, Glenn Mead, 100%. The commentary box is aligned today. Let us know in chat who your driver of the day is. We're about to go on a very short 5-minute break before our coverage of Group B begins. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back shortly for the Player 1 Sim Gear GT3 Championship as round 3 continues at Brands Hatch for Group B coverage. Stay tuned. We'll be back shortly. Hello and welcome back to the Player1 Sim Gear GT3 Championship here at MotorMotion E-Series. Season 3, Round 3 continues with our Group B coverage of Pro-Am and Am categories. Group A showed us that there are 2, or if you're Guy Barbara, 3 strategies in play today. The 2-stop and the 1-stop going to be the critical decision-making that the teams and the drivers are going to have to make today, especially for Group B, where things do often get fiery. We've said it a number of times. We love Group B, we love Division 2, we love Lobby 2, and this is going to be a spicy one around Brands Hatch here today. Back in the commentary box for Group B coverage, it's myself, George Cook, and I'm joined by Andrew Scott. Andrew, what are we expecting to see? Group B strategies are often a little bit left field. Is it going to be a strategy thing, or is it going to be mistakes and consistency?
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to consistency in this lobby. But once again, looking forward to the battles. There's always some excitement in Lobby B at MotorMotion. And here at Brands Hatch, it could get hairy at any point in time. But yeah, we're going to see, I think, a lot of two-stoppers in this race, as we see a lot of drivers starting to form up on the grid on soft tyres to start their race.
Fantastic. Yeah, we saw the soft tyre for Group A lasting between 11 and 13 laps. If they get to 13 laps, we'll be very, very surprised. But we'll see what happens. At the moment, the standings for Am class, Jack Finch for Huncorp Esports on 89 points, followed by Chip Berry and Black Rose Racing, 85 points. Graham Splint in third on 71. Then in Pro-Am, it is Joe Rudinsky, who's been unmatched. He is doing a Gopa Mahinajit in Pro-Am at the moment. Well, actually, I can say that up until this round, but still completely successful. 2 race wins in a row for Joe Rudinsky and Mad Turtle have been relying on that to keep them really up there in terms of the team's championship. Blake Williamson on a great run at Le Mans in round 2, Huncorp Esports, and he's on 86 points, followed by Mark Hasel1, the leader of Hasel1 Motorsport, on 81 points. This is how the grid is going to line up in qualifying. Mark Hasel1 for Hasel1 Motorsport, and you'll be happy about this, has gotten on pole position, a 123.893, and he is 0.662 ahead of Blake Williamson in for Huncorp Esports. That is a bigger gap than between yourself and Guy Barbara in Group A. So fantastic stuff. And for once, we don't see Joe Rudinsky up there in the top 2 or even on the podium, which is where he's been for many of these rounds. So Joe Rudinsky qualifies 3rd position, followed by Jack Finch, leader of Am class, who had a horrendous accident coming together with Troy Bretnell at Le Mans. We caught it on camera, and he went 250 kilometers an hour straight into a barrier. Absolute disaster. So hopefully his force feedback didn't do anything nasty to his wrists. RPM in 5th position for Mad Turtle Racing. Then it is 6th position Calculated Risk. Mitch Collin for Lightning Motorsport in 7th, followed by Aussie Heat and CP Motorsports in 8th. Then on the 5th row of the grid, once my data loads, it is Troy Bretnell, who had some connection issues at Le Mans. Hopefully those are resolved. Aussie GTR for CP Motorsports in 10th. Legendary Berry in the 911 Porsche in 11th, followed by Richard Robinson. Benjamin Blaker in 13th, and Blue Dog returning for Gridline Racing for this race. Going to be an exciting one. I think we're ready to go down onto grid. Let's get out there and see the action for Group B. Here we go. Start of the race. So Mark Hasel1 will lead us away. He's on the racing soft tyre. That's the right choice. Rolling start once again, and we are away. Green flag racing for Group B. Pro-Ams versus Am class. Well, technically, they're only versing their competitors within the category, but the overall is going to be interesting. Boosted Blake off to a decent start as well, but he's under attack already from Joe Rudinsky for 2nd position. This is going to be a good one. It looks like we've got racing soft tyres for Joe Rudinsky, so he's going to be keen to get past Boosted Blake as soon as possible. And that Mercedes, we know it's got a lot of power around this circuit. Jack Finch off to a good start, 4th position for him, followed by RPM chasing closely. Calculated Risk in 6th position. But this has been the start that Mark Hasel1 has been keen for. He's gotten through Surtees beautifully and now has that decent gap, as we do see Jack Finch trying to make the move. No, it's RPM making the move on Jack Finch, in fact. So RPM has done a wonderful job at Surtees, put his Mercedes right on ahead of the Am class leader in the number 11 car for Huncorp Esports. Great start for Mad Turtle Racing. They have got Joe Rudinsky and RPM side by side, and that puts Jack Finch right back next to the Porsche, the Black Rose Racing Porsche of Calculated Risk. Mitch Collin following along with them as well as we head up to the hill for the first time down towards Sterling's. Tricky place for these guys to go racing. A lot of them will be worried about the coolness of the track out there, as we do see, I think that's Aussie Heat going for a bit of an excursion on the outside line of Sterling's. Not where you want to be early on. He's fighting to keep that position. He's run over the inside apex, and Aussie Heat having all sorts of trouble early in this race, not able to get his tires up into the window that they need to be, and Legendary Berry will soar on past. And now Marty McFarty, that's Dylan Scarborough, challenging Aussie Heat for P11 in this race as they make contact into Paddock Hill Bend, and that sends both of them into a rather uncontrolled spin. On through comes a GLR car, that is Gridline Racing. So a lot of action happening down here at the back of the pack, and it's ongoing as we see. I think that's Ben Blaker going for a bit of a spin at the end. No, it's not Ben Blaker, it's another one of the Gridline Racing cars wide at Graham Hill Bend for Richard Robinson as he's battling with Aussie Heat. Through Surtees we go, and Ben Blaker wants a piece of the action now as well. Absolute craziness and fire. Great action at the back of the grid at the moment as Hasel1 makes his way through. And honestly, unchallenged at the beginning of this race, Ando.
Yeah, great start for Mark there. He's put in the work for this round, by the way. He's done the practice, he's done the research, so he's in a really good spot now to make his strategy work. But at the back end of the field, my other teammate, Ben Blaker, is in amongst it. He's given it a go. And as usual in Lobby B, we're seeing lots of action here. We've got soft runners up against medium runners, people on full fuel and cold tyres at varying levels of familiarity with that car configuration, and we're seeing people start to stumble over each other, and that's costing them all time, George. Unfortunately, these battles are good to watch, but they're not good for your lap pace or your overall result. So they're going to want to sort themselves out sooner rather than later and settle into their pace here in order to make their strategies work.
And this is exactly why the initial tire choice is so critical. If you're down there in the pack, you probably want to be on the medium tire, but you inevitably get caught up with the one or two people that decide, you know what, I want to make a lot of positions early on and get onto the softs early. The battle here that we're watching, Boosted Blake Williamson, who won out last time, I believe, in the Pro-Am category at Le Mans. Correct me if I'm wrong. I may be wrong about that. We'll double check at the background, but certainly one of the top contenders in Pro-Am with the top man himself, Joe Rudinsky, in an early battle as they fly through Hawthorne at the end of the straight. Nothing the Mercedes can do against this Toyota Supra. I mean, let's be honest, Pilgrim's Drop is not a long straight at all. But still, even with that, the Mercedes just can't get the run on the Supra.
No, it all depends on how you get out of Surtees as well. But yeah, the Supra here has got, you know, its party trick is its straight line speed as we see them draw alongside each other, and he's going to have a go here. And he makes the move work. So a great move there by the Mercedes driver. He just licked that stamp and sent it. And the Supra, yeah, he's not the strongest car around here, although you wouldn't know it from Lobby A. But yeah, it takes a bit of talent to steer this thing around this track. This is not its best track, the Supra.
No, certainly not. And we saw, of course, it really came alive at Le Mans, where it could really exercise and stretch its legs. It's not the best in the corners, and the defensive move there from RPM. We do, of course, have a fascinating battle here. Second and third is Hooncorp versus Mad Turtle. Fourth and fifth is Mad Turtle versus Hooncorp. This is a fantastic little battle that we've got going on here, because these are the two championship leaders at the moment. So great to see out there on track. Jack Finch and RPM, of course, both in there for the title in AM class. That's Bob Massey and Jack Finch. Bob Massey is in fourth position. We're on board with Joe Rudinsky at the moment, setting purple sectors currently at the end of Pilgrim's Drop. I imagine a few of them probably are, with the fastest lap at the moment held by Mark Hasel1, a 1:25.9. And then, of course, you've got Joe Rudinsky leading Pro-Am versus Blake Williamson, who's hot on his heels, only 14 points behind him. That is a lot of curve going through Sheen Curve there for the Supra, and I'm not surprised actually to see the Supra trying to do that. They're trying to really take as much curve as possible. Here's a chance for Joe Rudinsky. We're on board. Is it going to be a late braking maneuver? He's going to try it. He's got a nose next to the rear tire of Blake Williamson, but it's not enough, and onto the back on the main pit straight we go for lap 5.
Very respectful driving there from Boosted Blake. I think you saw there he intentionally stayed a bit wide there because he knew that Expat had his nose tucked in there. And if they made contact at that apex there of Clark Curve, George, they both could have been off there. So very respectful, skillful driving there from both drivers.
Absolutely, yeah. And if you're in the position that Blake Williamson found himself in, going wide there really doesn't cost you a lot. You've got the nice downhill, the car will bottom out. You'll have plenty of grip to deal with, so you can afford to go slightly wide there. Just get the power down nice and early. Here we go. Big opportunity, but it's too good of an exit through Surtees for Joe Rudinsky. So he ends up bump drafting Blake Williamson ahead instead of the opportunity that nearly presented itself. And of course, that means Blake Williamson will retain the position as we head through Hawthorne and now down the Derek Minter straight, I should say. Here's the onboard shots that we're seeing at the moment. Grey and overcast in England. No surprise there. Makes me, of course, a little bit upset because we don't get to see the beautiful nature of the Brands Hatch track today in clear view. But luckily, the cameras are showing us clear views of the cars on track as we see Expat just dip a little tire there. Now, both of them, I believe, are on the soft tire. We can double check Blake Williamson just to be absolutely sure. Yeah, soft and soft. The fact that they don't have the pace to hassle Dean at the moment is in some ways a little bit of a surprise, but just goes to show how the BMW has come alive at Brands Hatch.
Yeah, the track suits the car, but also Mark has put in the work this round. So he is reaping the rewards of that now. He's done a good bit of practice and testing, and he's all set to go. And these two cars battling each other as well is not helping their pace relative to Hasseldean.
Yeah, and that's the big thing, as we've said a number of times before. You've got to make sure you're working together instead of working against each other. Otherwise, you will allow your competitors to escape. We're looking at calculated risk at the moment for Black Rose Racing. The Porsches actually making a bit of a statement here in Group B. That's a sliding moment into Surtees for calculated risk. Chip Berry is a little bit under pressure right now. Jack Finch, something has happened to Jack Finch. Why is he suddenly in 7th position? Maybe we can take a look at his car. Is there damage? Has he pitted? No. Something has happened there. He's run off track at some part of the circuit and found himself in 7th.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I'd say that's to do with the pressure being applied from Expat behind him there. Oh no, so I'm sorry, I'm getting them mixed up. But yeah, it looks like he's succumbed to the pressure from RPM behind him, and he's made a little boo-boo at some point around the track, I'd say.
Yeah, must have been as a result of them going side by side at some point, and inevitably these things do happen. But Jack Finch had a lot of work to do after his massive incident over at Le Mans. Now he's got more work to do today. So whatever he's thinking in terms of these overtakes, might need to try and dial it back in, as we do see a potential overtake here. Yep, the number 18 car goes on through, and that's a nice overtake into the first corner for Gridline Racing. But here comes Legendary Berry on the attack back into Druids. That's what happens. If you overtake in turn 1, you're likely open on the inside into Druids, and that is a nice bit of defensive driving there for Legendary Berry, and not really much, unfortunately, that Dylan Scarborough can do driving for Gridline Racing today. So in the background, you can see Richard Robertson for Aster Racing and Benjamin Blaker. That is very wide, and oh dear, that is a position lost. Easy contest there, but yeah, for number 64 car, he's run wide at Surtees, and not particularly hard to do, if we're honest.
Yeah, that's two Porsches now in the space of a couple of laps. We've seen put a tyre, just dipping a tyre in the grass on the outside on the entry to Surtees, and that is definitely not what you want to do, especially in a Porsche, an MR car.
Exactly right. It burns up the tires a lot. We look back to the Carrera Cup earlier in the season, in the year for MotorMotion E-Series. We've got a car around, and that is Aussie GTR in P13 now. He has gone for a rather nasty spin, put his front into the barrier, and that is another classic Sheen curve incident.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're just not as precise as you need to be around here at those curves. Those last few curves in that last sector there, that you have to be so precise with your inputs and positioning of the car, and those mistakes are bound to happen when you're pushing a little bit too hard.
Yeah, Sheen curve, one of the trickiest places, or corners, I should say, on this track. Not easy to go through there at all. It's a very, very precise corner. It's a blind exit as well, so you don't necessarily know how close you're going to be relative to the apex as you go on through there at about 180 kilometers an hour. So very tricky place to go racing. We see that in real motorsports as well. Most recently, I think I saw a McLaren going off there and doing some shenanigans. Unfortunately, luckily they were able to keep it out of the barrier. And real motorsports, of course, that's game over should you end up in the barrier. Jack Finch already making a position up on Troy Britnell. Troy Britnell looking like he's not got a latency issue this race, which is excellent to see. He was in such a good position at Le Mans, Ando. He was right there. But that incident, the lag, we think it was netcode between him and Jack Finch, was an absolute disaster. And that's what caused that lap one incident when they both flew into the barrier at over 250 kilometers an hour. So Jack Finch will be happy to have been getting past Troy Britnell. And to be honest, hopefully neither of them are feeling that deja vu that we're seeing on track right now.
Yeah, I have it on good authority that that was indeed hardware problems, failure for Brits Lightning. Definitely a clean driver, well-respected driver around here, and he had an absolute failure. And poor old Jack Finch was just collateral damage in that incident.
Exactly right. Yeah, Troy Britnell, of course, was with us in the commentary box at the end of the TCR Cup, where both of his teams, in fact, did incredible work throughout that season. It was a really good season for Troy Britnell and his team, Lightning Motorsport. And of course, being one of the top RCA teams in MotorMotion E-Series, they were welcomed with open arms into the GT3 Championship. Great to see him here again. Lovely guy to have a conversation with as well. He's so passionate about his team culture. Having fun on the circuit is everything that I would want to see in a team leader. Here we go, the battle continuing. And shortly for Blake Williamson, he's going to have two Mad Turtles behind him. So a gaggle of Mad Turtles appearing in the rearview mirror at a rapid rate. Be warned, these are snapping jaw turtles as well. They do bite, so be careful.
That's good to know. The collective noun for a turtle is a gaggle. Okay, I'll put that one away. I'll file it for future reference. But speaking of pointless information and trivia, tell us a bit more about Brands Hatch, George. You're obviously very familiar with it, but I love the track. It's obviously got a lot of history, doesn't it? Did it used to be an airfield or something in the war days?
Yeah, so I'll cover that before I make a correction. It's not a gaggle of turtles. Turns out it's a bale of turtles. So a bale of turtles approaching Hooncorp Esports.
Oh, there you go. Thank you, ChatGPT.
Exactly
Or was that
right.
Siri?
Oh, that was just Google. You know, I do it the old school way now. I'm old school. Oh dear. Showing a little bit of my age now, unfortunately. Yeah, indeed. It was actually formerly grass track motorcycle circuit. So I do believe it wasn't one of those used in the World War II for a runway, because as you can see, where on earth would you put it? But it was created to counteract some of those early airfield conversions to racing circuits. So this was the first sort of proper British racing circuit that was created in a more formal, modern way in England. It's had the same logo for a long time now, but built in 1950, or opened in 1950, I should say. It is a 3.9 kilometer circuit. That's 2.43 miles. Of course, as we know, lots and lots of different names here. Graham Hill, the original Graham Hill, we should say. Bend, Hawthorne, fantastic places to go racing. And yeah, not as interesting a history here as, say, Silverstone, which was converted from farmland, then to an airfield, then back to a circuit. This one was all farmland, and it was grass circuit for motorcycle racing up until they decided they want to go car racing here, which I'm so glad they did.
Yeah, no, I love the naming conventions at the British circuit. So they always, pay homage to their legendary drivers and the history of the geography of the circuit. So I love the corner names, and the track layout itself also is a real gem. It's a real gem of a circuit. This, I love it.
Completely agreed, and it's great to see the racing here today. We've had a pit stop from Mark Hasel1 on fresh soft tyres, and Boosted Blake finds himself in the lead, but for how long? The bale of turtles are rapidly approaching them from behind. We'll have a quick look. Boosted Blake, what set of tyres is he on at the moment? We might be able to get a rear view camera in this view at the moment. He is on very worn racing softs. I think, Ando, this really shows how well Mark Hasel1 has done to find himself in second after a pit stop.
Yeah, he has, but this is the problem. We spoke about this in Lobby A. When you pit back into traffic, it does compromise your strategy. So Hasel1 here is being held up by Boosted Blake. It's not a blue flag scenario, so it's for track position. So Boosted Blake does not have to yield here. He'll just make his car as wide as possible, but I think he might be pitting shortly anyway, and that'll release Hasel1 back into the lead of the race to execute his strategy.
There we go. We're oh, here we go. That is very, very close.
Woo!
Hasel1 probably should have been expecting a pit stop to happen in a moment's time, but nearly got caught out. Certainly, it looked scary from that reverse camera that we were just on board with. He retakes the lead, luckily for him. Did pit a lap earlier than these guys, so tyres going to be in question, I think, as we do see the rest of them head back out. And I think, yeah, Boosted Blake, I don't know if he's taken a little bit of fuel there, but Joe Rudinsky has found himself ahead on track, and Blake Williamson has opted for the medium tyre, Ando. So he's going for an alternative strategy, despite the fact that he probably would have come out in clean air.
Yeah, there you go. They're all going to have to run mediums at some point. So I think they're all on two-stop strategies, but Boosted Blake is choosing to run his mediums now. But there you go. You've just seen the undercut perform to perfection there from Expat. He pitted a lap earlier, and he's gone onto fresh tyres, and he's gotten himself ahead of Boosted Blake with a beautiful little undercut.
Yeah, absolutely wonderful. And of course, now Troy Britnell going to be attacking the other Hooncorp Esports driver. He's gotten himself ahead of Jack Finch at some point in the last couple of laps by some distance. I wonder if Jack Finch has had another issue on track and now finds himself the meat in the sandwich and attacking the Pro-Am level driver at Hooncorp Esports. So really good situation here for Troy Britnell on the medium tyres that he's been running, I think, since the start of the race. Looking in good shape at the moment on the NSX, which, you know, let's be honest, Anna, we've really not seen anything from the NSXs at all this season.
No, interesting choice of car, but definitely a capable car. It's a little bit down on top end speed, and it's obviously an MR format as well. So you've got to worry about that that rear tyre condition. Once an MR car has rear tyre wear, it becomes a very dicey prospect indeed.
Indeed. So we're just getting a bit of information from our race control as well. The track started as a kidney shape and was run in reverse. So you'd go up the Paddock Hill bend, and it was done on push bikes, not on motorbikes. So there you go. That is the official information. Turns out it was pitted at the same time. So turtles have taken less fuel on board. So that is part of the reason why we're seeing the switch as well. So let's get caught up with the rest of the grid here as we see battles continue. It is Hasel1 from RPM, both needing to, well, Hasel1 not needing to pit, but RPM certainly needing to pit at some point soon. But he is running the medium tyre in this race, so he'll be running deep as we head through to the 19th minute of the race. It's then Mitch Collin in third position for Lightning Motorsport, being chased down by Calculated Risk and Black Rose Racing. Then we've got Joe Rudinsky in P5. With a good strategy execution, puts him up ahead of the man who was formerly second in this race, Blake Williamson. So this is really, really good. The epic battle struggle between the Turtles and the Hooncorp Esport drivers certainly playing out in the favor of the Turtles today. Currently, we'll see if that switches back. Then it's Troy Britnell on a charge in AM class. I think he's second or third at the moment in AM class. We'll do a double check on that shortly as the pit stops do sort themselves out. Richard Robinson for Aster Racing in P8. On the medium tyre and running long, as is Chip Berry for Black Rose Racing. Jack Finch must have come in for his pit stop because he's 10th. Oh, but he's picked up a 3-second penalty. I think we actually saw that as he came into the pits. He was doing some interesting things with the lines, and I think he must have run across the pit exit. We'll come back to that in a few minutes' time. Aussie GTR with the accident at Surrey, still carrying the damage in P11 for CP Motorsports, and then it is Dylan Scarborough for Gridline Racing in P12, followed by Benjamin Blaker for Hasel1 Motorsport, and Blue Dog rounding out the field for Gridline Racing. So Gridline Racing not having a good time today. Let's talk a little bit about Jack Finch and that penalty. That's going to cost him a lot in the AM class.
Yeah, it is, and I think he might have got it on entry, did he, George? But
I think so.
Yeah, 3 seconds. Fortunately, it's not a very long straight you have to serve the penalty on, so it's not going to cost as much as it might at some other tracks, but definitely it's going to compromise his chances of a good result today.
Certainly will, as we see third place being contested at the moment. Mitch Collin under a lot of pressure from Black Rose Racing right now. They're both on the same strategy and yet to pit in this race as we're barreling rapidly towards half distance. Is it going to be a move down the inside? It's a little bit of a look, I should say, as I do gather my words up. And there we go. No contest from Mitch Collin. Doesn't want to fight that. And Calculated Risk goes on through for Black Rose Racing and up into third overall at the moment. Mitch Collin and we've got Joe Rudinsky coming on through. So Joe Rudinsky will try and make as quick a move as possible on these two. As Joe Rudinsky, though, you find two cars on a medium strategy ahead of you. Gosh, you'd be a bit frustrated.
Yeah, most definitely, because he's got to keep it clean. He's got to keep himself out of the principal's office. He doesn't want any sort of reporting done on him as he makes a move here into, oh, doesn't quite get it to work, but there into Hawthorn, I think it was once again. He's just being held up here, George, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Dingledale. It's a tricky place to go and overtake. I mean, there's just such little runoff. I mean, you can run pretty wide at the exit there. It's basically a double right-hander. And the left tires do get chewed up at that part of the circuit is a real worry for these guys. They want to go a little bit easy around there, but he didn't find the space on Mitch Collin at all. But for another lap, if he has to deal with this for another lap, he is in serious trouble. He needs to get ahead. He needs to do it soon. And you'd think he'd be pushing a little bit hard, but I get the feeling he's trying to look after these soft sando. I mean, we only saw Hasel1 make 10 laps. We only saw the others make 11 laps on the racing soft. So they're just at the minimum that you can get these softs, and not even a move at Druids.
No, you can run long on the mediums though. So nine laps on the mediums is not going to end your race. But I tell you what, being stuck behind worn mediums is going to ruin your race. So he's going to have to make a move here. And again, he's a little bit too close there. He's got to line these guys up. He's got to line them up a few corners, ahead of when he's going to make his move. He's got to make use of that overspeed he's going to get on corner exit before a decent straight. He's going to have to sort of think about it here as he decides to go for it again. Tips it in there. Is that Dingledale again? He just can't quite make it work, can he? He's almost too close to the car in front, George, at each corner. And he has to lift mid-corner.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And he finds himself out of position and not side by side enough to move Mitch Collin and force him to get out of the way. It might be an opportunity here into the braking zone at Clark Curve. Mitch Collin doesn't want any of it, doesn't want to see the Mad Turtle car go past. I mean, I have to admit, it's been pretty staunch defending from Mitch Collin. He doesn't want Joe Rudinsky to be involved in this battle. You can see the time that Mitch Collin's already lost to calculate a risk at the moment. So scary moments there for sure, but Mitch Collin is in the Pro-Am class, so versus calculated risk. Let me double check here, but I believe that is Marcel Albertin. So they are in a battle in the Pro-Am category at the moment, and Mitchell Collin only on 24 points in the standings. Wants this to be a good result, but he's fallen right off as a result of Joe Rudinsky's hesitation in that.
Yeah, I tell you what, George, into Clark Curve there, the last place where you want a little nudge on your rear right tyre. And those guys did really well not to end up in disaster there. But I tell you what, you lift your skirt here and miss an apex, and the car behind's going to take advantage, aren't they, every time?
Every time. You have to be opportunistic. That is the nature of the racing at Brands Hatch at the end of the day. Maybe a little bit too, I don't know. It's a tricky one to say. I mean, obviously, Joe Rudinsky needed to get past. He probably had a few other opportunities to make that happen. And Mitch Collin was really not keen to see him get involved. So it was very heavy defensive driving from Mitch Collin, probably not realizing that he's actually not in a race with Joe Rudinsky, who's going to be up the field after the medium stinters come in for their pit stop. But for Mitch Collin, it was fair defending at the end of the day, and Joe Rudinsky had to be the one to make the safe pass. And I don't know if they made contact. I think there was a little bit of contact, wasn't there, between them, because Mitch Collin turned directly in. Once the braking zone was done, he turned in and said, I don't want to give you much more space. And really, it wasn't particularly side by side either for them. We're taking a look at P13 at the moment, and Aussie GTR, after that incident at Sheen Curve, has fixed the car. He's on the medium tyres, so we'll be going long and possibly to the end of this race.
Yeah, we're looking at the back of the field here at the drivers that have come a cropper, basically, as we see Ben Blaker there now for Hasel1 Motorsport. He's on worn softs and low fuel. He's going to be in the pits shortly. But this is what happened, George, when you have a little incident or a little boo-boo, you end up way back in the field, and you've just got to sort of put your head down and get yourself onto a recovery drive and see what can happen for the end of the race. You just never give up, and you might be able to make it back up into the top 10 if you have a clean rest of the race.
Exactly, and that's what Jack Finch will be doing right now. He's got clean air in front of him. He's got the racing soft tires on. Likely will be doing one more pit stop in this race. In fact, almost certainly will be. He's setting purple sectors at the moment, so this is what we need to see from this man. And the rest of the field above him will do that extra. Will do another pit stop, and he'll find himself maybe back in the mix. But these have got to be good laps. They're not particularly consistent at the moment, although this is a quick one at the minute. 125.6 his personal best at the moment, and this is set to be much faster than that. Fastest lap still held by Mark Hasel1 at 124.596, and he is having a really good race today at the end of the day. Yeah, he is having a fantastic race. Richard Robinson jumps into the pit from the medium tyres and low fuel, will get himself set up for the remainder of this race. May well be on the one-stop strategy. We'll keep an eye on that when he comes out of the pits, as does Troy Britnell, who I think has maybe decided to go back onto the softs at the end of this. He's going for a very high fuel amount for the remainder of the race, but that may indicate that he's going to be moving to the medium tyres as well. We'll have a little look as they come out of the pit. Soft tyres for Robinson. For Troy Britnell, what's it going to be? I'm not 100% sure. It is medium tyres, so yes, he is going for that longer stint now.
Yeah, so he's set up to the end of the race now. He should have track position on his competitors. He's basically saying, here I am, boys, come and get me. Catch me if you can.
Yes, indeed. And he'll be finding his way up the field as we see Ben Blaker now come in for his pit stop. So a few cars separated by a little bit. Some cars, in fact, battle packs really starting to evolve in this race. RPM still ahead of Expat. The two Mad Turtle drivers having a good day out so far. Not the same. The same could not be said, unfortunately, for Hooncorp right now, as Jack Finch still trying to make his way back up through the field, although he's setting purple sectors. So we're hoping that he's going to have a good result. Let's just put it that way. Good few laps. Oh my goodness! Here we go. This is not for the race lead. This is RPM. This is RPM and Expat and Ben Blaker, who's just come into the pits and come out. So the two Mad Turtle drivers, the bale of turtles, making their way through the back markers at the moment and continuing to keep their position. Joe Rudinsky on those very worn soft tyres. He'll be making a pit stop probably in the next 5 minutes or so. RPM ahead of him, though. What's his tyre strategy? Let's take a little look and have a quick look here. He's going to come into the pits this lap on the medium tyre Ando. So Mad Turtle still looking strong, and I say they're on for a pretty good result here today.
Yeah, RPM going long there on the mediums, isn't he? He hasn't pitted yet. And I'm not sure if that's the optimal strategy. Oh, as a teammate on teammate there. Oh, my God. Turtle worlds collide.
Oh,
what's going on here?
Well, it looks like Joe Rudinsky is trying to redress the position, but he's done it in the middle of traffic. Ben Blake has got no option but to come on through, as we see Black Rose Racing involved as well. And Mitch Collin is now there too, with I believe that's Jack Finch right behind him. So actually, in that case, I think Expat probably shouldn't have slowed down. He slowed down right into the braking zone, trying to wait for his teammate. And that's caused a whole bunch of headaches for the rest of the field. Joe Rudinsky will continue, as we see calculated risk, trying to get past Ben Blaker, who is a back marker, bear in mind. He needs to be getting out of the way and not being a bottleneck. There we go. Does manage to do it through Druid. So on through goes Marcel Albertin.
He's fighting him.
What's he doing? Fighting him. Ben Blaker should not be fighting this position. He's obviously trying to stay ahead, which he shouldn't be at this point. Oh, he's got off the track. Completely missed the braking zone there for Ben Blaker. I don't know what's going on with him right now. He has caused a ruckus.
Oh, my God. Or was it blue flags, George? I'm not sure. But if it was, then that's definitely a no-no. But not sure if it was a blue flag scenario or just a coming together of a slower driver with the leaders of this race. That was, wow, that was an exciting little exchange. We had about 7 cars all together there for the best part of half a lap. That was crazy.
That was absolutely fascinating to watch. And yeah, I'm not 100% sure what flag, if any, was being shown to Ben Blaker there. If it wasn't being shown, then fair racing. But he is right at the back of the grid, P13 or 14 at the moment. So I don't imagine he wouldn't have had a blue flag throughout most of that. Obviously, he made the mistake as he came up through Surtees and then put himself right out of the fight by de facto. In comes Calculated Risk and Mitch Collin for their pit stops. They're jumping off the medium tyre. It's going to be at least 14 litres more. It needs to be put in the tank for Mitch Collin today. So that is going to be one that he needs to keep in mind, because I suspect that Calculated Risk will not have to do that. Hasel1 is now in third position. Can we jump on board with Mark Hasel1 for a moment here, broadcasters? Yeah, so he definitely wasn't the one. It definitely was Ben Blaker at the end of the day. I just wanted to make sure. We did see the M-Class logo on the Hasel1 car. So just trying to keep it straight in our heads here, Endo, because it was a mess.
Oh, that was definitely Ben Blaker, but I just not sure whether there was blue flags being waved. I guess there must have been, right? So because Ben was in last position and they were the leader, they were up the front of the field. But I must say, in Ben's defense, it's very hard to stay out of the way around this track. It's not the widest of circuits. And yeah, it's very hard to sort of find somewhere to sort of get out of their way, especially when it's a pack of battling drivers like it was. That was just absolute craziness. It'll be very telling, I think, to see who's had their strategies compromised there, and what the washout of all that is.
Okay, indeed, yeah. And I think, honestly, all of it kicked off with Joe Rudinsky going into the back of his teammate, sending him wide at Sheen Curve. That's what kicked this whole situation off. And then the additional mistake from Joe Rudinsky was to slow down and try and redress on the racing line into Sterling's, which caused the entire pack to sort of have this sort of Code Brown moment. They all got bunched up together. And suddenly there was cars flying in all sorts of directions, and no one knew really what was going on. Some very, very scary moments there, all kicked off by the Turtle drivers coming together, having a little bit of a scrap between themselves. Well, not necessarily a scrap, but certainly an accident there with the much faster tyres for Joe Rudinsky, who's now changed onto the medium tyre and will continue his chase after Mark Hasel1 in this race. Booster Blake leads, but he does have to make another pit stop, whereas Expat and Hasel1 will be going to the end by what we can tell at the moment. Marcel Albertin in P4, right behind them with, I believe, Jack Finch. No, Jack Finch is on his own at the moment with only Troy Britnell behind him. So we're going to try and figure out who currently is leading in AM class. And I believe at the moment that is RPM. So 5th place at the moment for RPM, and he is doing a wonderful bit of work here. Marcel Albertin, of course, is Pro-Am driver. So there you go. It is RPM leading AM class at the moment, and it's looking like it's on for the Turtles today.
Yeah, although he got a bit of a tap on his shell from his teammate, it looks like he got away with it relatively unscathed, and he's still in good position here. So if he can get that win for his class, that will really help the Turtles' cause.
Certainly will. And yeah, they're in a real battle with Hooncorp at the moment. Hooncorp have just had their lead driver in this area coming to the pits. That's Boosted Blake, so Blake Williamson. Let's see what tyre he might be switching onto. I can't imagine it be anything else other than a medium tyre at this stage. No, it is in fact a soft tyre. So he's going to try and run long at the end of this race on the medium on the soft tyre. And fair enough, 11 laps. It's totally doable from him. This is really good news for him. He's got a bit of traffic to make his way past. He's got the AM class leader right there, which he does need to navigate in short order. And then, of course, it is Marcel Albertin, who's 4th in the championship for Pro-Am at the moment. He'll need to be overtaken to find for Blake Williamson to find his way back up towards Expat and the podium. But right now, let's check, actually. Let's check Marcel Albertin, calculated risk in P3, just see what he's going to the end.
Yeah, he's on the long strategy. He's on the mediums. I think he's got the fuel to do it. So he's got track position, and he has laid his cards on the table, and he's saying to the boys, "Come and get me. Here I am."
Qualified in 6th, of course, did Marcel Albertin. So the strategy execution today has been on point. Does have RPM and Blake Williamson coming up behind him, though. So this is going to suddenly turn into some very quick laps for Boosted Blake and Hooncorp Esports. Being pressured a little bit by Mitch Collin, who is wanting to get up to the rear end of Calculated Risk as well. So these two both going to be trying for a podium today. It's on the cards for both of them. Whether or not it ends up on a silver platter is going to be the question, because Calculated Risk has got some work to do. He's got to be consistent, and he's got to keep that gap growing as much as he possibly can. And he'll be hoping, I think, Ando, that RPM holds these guys up. RPM, of course, being on the soft tyre to the end of the race.
Yeah, exactly. You can always get some help from one of your competitors if they're indeed holding up your main rival. So that can always happen around here, as we saw in the lobby A. Myself didn't quite have that happen with Janetti coming out of the pits just ahead of uh, Gopi, and that released him to easily get by me within 2 or 3 laps time. But yeah, it's so crucial around here, George, that track position and getting stuck behind a car on harder tires or more worn tires is just really so damaging to your chances.
Exactly right. Hard to follow, hard to overtake, especially with the level of skill that we're seeing in the GT3 Championship, particularly elevated by, I guess, Kai Barbara entering the scene for Hooncorp Esports in Group A. But, I mean, Group B is always so even in a lot of ways. Yes, we have some of the slower drivers in the championship here in the AM class, but the top of the AM class very much sitting somewhere in the mid-pack of Pro-Am, well, certainly when you apply luck and the situational variables to the calculation. And we can see that right now with RPM essentially potentially becoming a podium maker here in the Pro-Am class, despite being an AM class driver. So fascinating last 23 minutes of this race, not 23, 13 minutes of this race ahead of us, as Blake Williamson nearly set fastest lap of the race. He's setting purple sectors in Sector 1 and Sector 2. Sector 3 seems to be where he comes unstuck a little bit, running in that dirty air of RPM ahead of him. And it is still Hasel1 from Expat from Calculated Risk. There's another purple sector from Hooncorp Esports. This is so critical in their overall championship fight. Obviously, they don't get points relative to the on-track standings of where they finish, but it's relative to their grid. So at the moment, that is 4th position in Pro-Am for Booster Blake, but he'd be really keen to get past the AM class driver and get those extra points. They're just within reach of him, but he's got a lot of work to do. And who's that? We've got someone ahead. Calculated Risk is catching up to at the moment. Not sure if that's Expat or if that's someone else on track. It is Expat. This is on now, Endo, for P2. It's all coming together.
Oh, how good is this, George? Here we are. We're 80% of the way through this race, and we've got cars in different categories, different types, different tire strategies, and they've all come together. Look how close they are on track, George. And they're still battling. This is riveting stuff. And Lobby B is delivering again.
Oh, and just as we switched away, that's probably my fault more than anything. And it is, of course, Booster Blake and Mitch Collin have made it past both of them. So I think there must have been a mistake there from RPM. He's tried to come back at them through Graham Hill Bend. It's not worked out at all. And so, unfortunately, while this doesn't really affect RPM, overall, he wants to try and help Joe Rudinsky as much as possible. He's not going to be able to help any more on the medium tires, as we do see 2 soft runners make it on through. We're going to have 2 soft running cars, Mitch Collin and Blake Williamson, attacking Marcel Albertin and Joe Rudinsky on the medium tires for P2 in this race. It's a 4-way battle. Isn't this brilliant?
Unbelievable stuff there. And RPM might have yielded to them there. He knew that his battle wasn't with these guys, and he just said, there you go. You go for it, guys. You're on the softs. I'm on the medium. You've got to stop again. I don't. So, after you, sir.
Yeah, it's entirely possible. That would be the gentlemanly, the English thing to do. Actually, that's a bit of a stretch these days, to be completely fair. But before I get into my opinions on some of that, let's go on board with Blake Williamson. He's on the soft tyre and this last part of the stint, chasing down 2 medium runners, sitting just outside the podium at the moment, 3rd place and 2nd right in front of him. Calculated Risk has really been putting the foot down on the medium tire and now forcing Joe Rudinsky to go and drive a lot faster on track, because I'm sure he knows that he is under serious risk of losing out on the podium if he doesn't get past Joe Rudinsky as soon as possible.
Yeah, I've been waiting for this, George. It didn't quite happen in Lobby A, but what I've been looking for is I want to see a battle between worn softs versus worn mediums. So someone on soft tyre who needs to make the pass to make their strategy work against a medium runner ahead of them who might be saving a bit of fuel, might be on that long stretch, and they're just making their car as wide as possible. And now it's just game on. It's basically up to driver skill now because the cars are basically on level terms.
Look at how much quicker Blake Williamson is through the middle sector. Dingledale and Sheen and Westfield, absolutely no contest there. He must have made up a half a second or more on the cars ahead. And this is going to be fascinating. I mean, you're using at this point, you're using the soft tires just to catch up, but what state they'll be in when you do is going to be the real question.
Exactly, exactly. So he's damned if you do, damned if you don't here. He needs to use those softs to catch up, but then he needs to have a little bit of tire left in his bank to make the move work. And it looks like he's making serious gains though on the cars in front. So my money's
Oh,
on
oh,
a little bit taily there, squirrely. But yeah, I'm on the over with Boosted Blake. I think he's probably going to get past him at some point if he just keeps it clean.
Oh my goodness, that was a scary moment on the exit of Druids through Graham Hill. Very, very scary for Booster Blake, and he's pushing as hard as possible. He has to do it at this stage. You know, you've got 8 minutes to go. You're going to need at least another couple of laps to catch right back up to calculated risk, and then you've got to overtake. So he's got a lot to do in this race, despite being what essentially is the prime position to get onto P2 in this race. He's got to overtake 2 cars. He's not going to cook his tires too much, and this Supra is already tricky to deal with on the corners, let alone with tires that are starting to wear out. And any small mistake here as he pushes hard in this race is going to cost him massively, because Mitch Collins right there to pick up the pieces of whatever falls out of the battle ahead. We did see one of the Gridline Racing cars have a problem at Paddock Hill. Ben did pull over and get out of the way of this amazing battle that is coming out. That is Ben Blaker now getting blue flagged and hopefully getting a bit further out the way this time than we did last time. Still to be TBC what actually happened in that case. And this has actually put a little bit of a cork in the bottle between Boosted Blake and Mitch Collin. Collin wasn't able to get past Ben Blaker as soon as he probably wanted to. There we go. Yeah, of course, Ben Blaker is aware of blue flag racing rules. I think something strange has probably happened in the GT7 engine as part of that previous scrap that was going on. So back to even standings, and Marcel Albertin has fallen back a little bit from Joe Rudinsky, who's put the foot down. I wonder if it was a saving. He was saving tires and fuel at that stage, because that gap has opened up just a little bit.
Yeah, quite possibly, George. They're all leaking oil here at this stage of the race in some form or the other. Regardless of what strategy you're on, you are getting to the end of your tyres' life, and you're going to have to drive differently around here in order to stay quick and risk-free and error-free. So it'll be a game of skill between now and the end of the race. And isn't it just riveting, mate? Other than Mark Hasseltine, who is basically the Twitchy of Lobby B this race. It's all up for grabs there from P2 backwards. The cars are nose to tail after, the best part of 45 minutes of racing. This is really, really intriguing stuff. It's riveting stuff. I love it.
It's absolutely brilliant. Let's see if Blake Williamson can catch that slipstream. That battle for P2 ongoing at the moment. It is fantastic to watch these strategies come back together. This is why I'm such a big fan of these multi-strategy races. You can see how close Marcel Albertin is now to the back. Oh, dear, oh dear. He's had an accident in his round. Chip, oh no, that is Marcel Albertin looks like he's actually tapped the back of Joe Rudinsky, and then had a bit of an issue on the exit of Druids, put the power down too much, and he's around and out.
Yeah, he got some tyre on the curb there as well, which is not what you want to do in the Porsche when you've got worn rear tyres and you get a little bit eager on the loud pedal. That was inevitable there. That was very unfortunate for that driver.
Oh, it's such a shame as well. He was potentially on for a third position finish. Would have only had to hold off Booster Blake for a number of laps in this, and those soft tires looking more and more worn. Probably the crossover has already happened between them, because we haven't seen Blake Williamson making the progress that he was a couple of laps ago. So that would have been nearly a de facto third position for Marcel Albertin, and would have been his first in the GT3 championship as well. That puts Mitch Collin up into the potentials for a podium. Blake Williamson finds himself back on the podium, but still needing and has the opportunity to chase down Joe Rudinsky. But I think the crossover's happened, Ando. I think the mediums are good now.
Oh, most definitely. I think they're on level terms at the very least. So unfortunate for the Porsche driver there. He was all over the car in front, had clear lap pace, was just a little bit too eager there, and wasn't quite patient enough, which is what you need around this track, George. When you're faster than the car in front, you've just got to be patient and time your moves to perfection. And that just didn't happen for him in that instance.
That is a real shame. We're watching the battle now between Chip Berry and Aussie GTR, and that is some damage as well being carried by Chip Berry on his car, racing mediums for him, 10th place, so rounding out the top 10 in Group B's race today. We are 4 minutes away from the end of this race. Jack Finch behind him, still battling with Richard Robinson, and actually picked up some damage on the soft tyres. So this is a day to forget really for Jack Finch, similar to Le Mans, unfortunately. He's got damage on a car that is already going to be struggling with these corners, and for Richard Robinson, might find himself up into P11 in short order. So Jack Finch leading AM class in the standings, but certainly not today. He's got RPM up there, bringing home the points for Mad Turtle Racing, which is huge for the team's title. So not the results that Hooncorp needed today at all. They are going to be probably falling to at least second position in the team's title for now, and that's the easiest overtake we've seen today down Pilgrim's Drop for the Aster Racing driver, but he actually loses it. Oh no! Oh dear, we've had a huge accident there, running wide at Hawthorne, and the car on the inside line is a victim picked up in the aftermath.
Oh my God! It was like that happened in slow motion, didn't it, George? We could see it happening. It was just very unfortunate. I think it was the RCZ got a tire out in the grass, got a little bit sideways, started to pirouette, and there was nothing the car behind could do. They were on a collision course, and around they both went, and I think they've both got damage. Do they?
Oh, they do. They absolutely both have damage. I mean, for Jack Finch, right now, he's been a magnet for accidents. It's just like it's watching a North Pole magnet attract to a South Pole magnet. It's just been so unfortunate for Jack Finch. I mean, first race, he was an absolute standout at Monza. He performed so well. Le Mans, it all went wrong. At Brands Hatch, it's all gone wrong for him. So the only commiseration he can take from this race is going to be that his teammate is currently sitting on the podium. I don't think he's going to have enough, Blake Williamson, to catch up to Joe Rudinsky. So yeah, real shame to see that incident right at the end of this race. We've got less than 2 minutes to go. Hasel1 set for a win today. Mitch Collin not going to be finding the pace, I don't think, to catch up to Blake Williamson. So we can pretty much call the top 4 as it is right now, bar any other mistakes that do happen. You know, this is the time when we want the commentator's curse to kick in, isn't it? We want some more switch-ups and things to happen.
Don't do it. Don't do it, mate.
Okay. I'll hold off this time. RPM leading AM class at the moment, ahead of calculated risk, and Troy Britnell second in in AM category, I should say, and then Marty McFardy in 8th, in 3rd, I think, for AM class at the moment. So RPM, good race today. I mean, this has been a stretched strategy. It has been one that has made him rather slow on track at the end of this race, but you can see how far he is ahead of Troy Britnell at the moment.
Yeah, I hope he's got enough fuel to make it to the end of the race. Are they going to get 35 in here? Most of them.
Yeah.
He was pretty low on fuel there.
Let's go to RPM. Let's go on board with RPM and just see the state of that, because it is going to be rather close. Hasel1 will get another lap out of this. He's going to need to make it at least one more lap, and that is not a lot of fuel. Where is Troy Britnell in 7th position, but how far down the track is he? I think he's right next to calculated risk. No, he's coming through there. I don't know. It could be a close one, but if RPM runs out of fuel, he will potentially lose the AM class win today.
Yeah, I hope he's looking at it. He should be able to manage this to the end with lift and coast, fuel mapping, and short shifting. But if he's not aware of his fuel state, which often happens to us drivers in GT7, if you're not aware of your fuel state, he could be going hammer and tong here, and he could run out of fuel and get swamped.
Oh, this is a scary moment here. Let's see if RPM can manage to get all the way through to the end of this race. Hasel1 will be coming through the final sector in a few moments' time. We haven't given him a lot of airtime. We haven't talked about him a lot. But I tell you what, Mark Hasel1 today has put on the performance that we've been expecting from him. His team, of course, works so hard on the strategy to execute something that works really, really well. He started on the soft tire from pole position, built the lead early on, and executed his strategy to perfection. He's going to come across the line with a splash of fuel. The medium tires red hot from what's been a fantastic race, and the number 16 takes his first win in Pro-Am category. Hasel1 Motorsport back on top, of course, champions from previous seasons, and they are looking to recoup what has been a relatively average start in the Pro-Am category, certainly beginning of this season. But Hasel1 take a bow at Brands Hatch. It's going to be Joe Rudinsky and Blake Williamson, the remainder of your Pro-Am category results here today. And RPM, is he going to make it? Yes, he does. No, that is not him. Where is he? Has he already finished the line? Where?
Yes.
We are somewhere. I think he's finished. I think he has indeed crossed the line. So RPM will take the AM class win. It'll be Troy Britnell and Dylan Scarborough. Let's go to our results and have a little look at the final results of Pro-Am and Am after round 3. So there we go. Hasel1, what a race. We'll talk about that in a few moments' time, but really, really well executed from him. Joe Rudinsky coming to blows with his teammate RPM didn't end up costing them too much at the end of the day, and the medium strategy at the end did work out for him. Blake Williamson not able to keep himself on the second row of the podium, but picks up a third place after we saw Marcel Albertin have an almighty accident that took him out of that podium. That probably would have been his at the end, given the softs were dropping off so quickly. Mitchell Collin in 4th position, then Marcel Albertin. Dylan Scarborough picks up 6th position, so not 3rd in AM class. That's my fault. Hayden Jones picks up 7th place for CP Motorsport, and Richard Robinson in 8th. Let's take a look at AM class standings. And it is going to, or not standings, I should say, results. It is Bob Massey, RPM, for Mad Turtle Racing. 39 points. What an absolutely brilliant race for him and Mad Turtle Racing. Troy Britnell picks up his first podium in Season 3 for Lightning Motorsports. Chip Berry picks up 3rd place, followed by Jack Finch, Ben Blaker, Graham Splint, and 2 DNFs today, or 1 DNF, Mark Hoden and Blake Durston DNF today, unfortunately. That is going to be our standings. Ando, break it down for us. It's a wild race. It always is in Group B.
Oh, I tell you what, George, Group B didn't disappoint, did it? And we saw there at the end of the race there, all those cars nose to tail. That's the nature of this circuit, Brands Hatch. It's such an exciting circuit to watch a race unfold at. And, you know, we had some drivers there making mistakes and paying the penalty, but then we also had some drivers having a clean race, a relatively well-executed strategy, and they're reaping the rewards there. And if it's time for driver of the day, I've got my vote ready.
I'll go for it. Go for it.
Look, without an ounce of bias, I'm going to give it to Mark Hasel1, who absolutely he did the Guy Barbara of the Lobby B today. He absolutely schooled everyone there. He led from pillar to post, George, and he basically was uncontended for that whole race. So well done to Mark Hasel1, my team captain.
Absolutely right. I think I have to echo that. I think there were some really good performances out there today, but the only person with a clean bill of health right at the end was Mark Hasel1. And also, on the back of what's been a couple of disappointing rounds for Mark Hasel1, that is an excellent way to go into round 4 next week out. So, you know, I think at the end of the day, Mark Hasel1 absolutely deserves it. He's taken the trifecta today. He's got the qualifying pole. He's led the race right from the start, and of course taken home that win. And that's a real boost of confidence for him going into the remainder of the season. Let's bring up our season calendar and take a look at what's next, because Group A and Group B will of course return in a week's time, where we head to Nürburgring, the GP/full course. It's going to be a great one, that one. Nürburgring always produces some brilliant racing. And I guess it's rather similar in some ways to Brands Hatch, with a couple of longer straights, especially around the NGK chicane. So that is going to be a fascinating race to behold. Same time, same place, of course, here on TrackSpot TV YouTube and the MotorMotion E-Series YouTube. A few housekeeping items before we sign off today. Of course, big thanks to Player1 Sim Gear, the Australian-owned and operated Queensland-based sim racing gear repository. Go and check them out on p1simgear.com.au. I was about to say co.nz, com.au for all your sim racing needs. Support them so they can continue supporting us here at MotorMotion E-Series in the GT3 Championship. Broadcasting, of course, brought to you today by TrackSpot TV. Go and check us out on www.trackspot.tv if you need broadcasting or commentary or want to join a professional level team of broadcasters and commentators. Go and jump in. We are taking applications at the moment. Big thanks, of course, to MotorMotion E-Series and the admins behind the scenes. Go and check out all the news and articles on the website and future race sign-ups. So I think plans are already in place for 2026. So www.motormotioneseries.wordpress.com. Go and check us out on Facebook and Discord. Get involved because it is amazing racing here at the GT3 Championship and at MotorMotion E-Series. I've been George Cook leading you through the commentary today. On the tools, we've had John Wright, and Andrew Scott has been joining me as our brilliant co-commentator today. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We're going to see you in a week's time, same place, and we'll catch you then. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.